Oh shit. Oh shit. I fucked that up, not gonna lie. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, let's try to get this one perfect. Great. Welcome to all the people joining the live. The only reason I'm live streaming, to be fair, is because I started shipping orders and I was like, man, this is getting boring. So like packaging orders, sorry. So I was like, I might as well just do a Q&A while I do this, because this is going to take me many hours. So it makes a lot of sense just to do like a Q&A or something like that. So if you have any questions to ask me as I do what I'm doing, be my guest. What time in the UK? 2 p.m. So a good, nice afternoon time. Wagwan, Philip. Oh shit. When is the magazine releasing? Well, let me put it this way. There have been many setbacks when it comes to my magazine. So now I'm kind of at the point where it's just like, it's probably going to come out early next month, is like my estimation. Hopefully I can like release our magazine earlier. It's like I've written the articles and everything. It's just like other stuff that's like pushing me back right now. So yeah, that's the situation with the magazines. Grail pieces. When I first got into fashion, I used to do like the whole Grail pieces thing, but I don't really do that anymore because I'm not a rich person and I don't like to dwell on pieces that I want because I just feel like it's a bit toxic. So now I'm just kind of on the vibe of like, if I have money and I see something I like, I'll get it. I don't really have grails anymore. So there's no piece that like I've really wanted that like if I got loads of money now, I would like buy. I don't really look at clothes that way anymore because it just wasn't good for like my mental health and being depressed that I can't afford certain pieces. Okay, wait, hold on, because I'm listening to music, so I can't really focus. So someone's asking how much is the magazine going to be? So let me check my folder because all the financial stuff is in my folder. Give me a sec. Okay, so the magazine, there are two versions. So there's going to be a digital version, which basically, if you pay for it, you're going to get sent the PDF straight to your email. That's going to cost £10, so very inexpensive, basically the cost of like any other magazine. However, the print version is way more expensive, obviously, because it costs so much to print magazines, especially when you're like me, where I'm only going to print maximum like 100 copies. It's so expensive. So I'm charging 45 for the print magazines, and then I'm charging £10 for the digital versions. But I don't know. Sorry, the camera's there. So I don't know how much that is in like dollars and different currencies. But yeah. Just finished the class talking about discrimination in the fashion industry. Yo, that's crazy. Do you what? Do you go to fashion school or something? You must go to fashion school. Seems like a very fashion school specific thing to be studying. I actually just finished a lecture at CSM, but it wasn't really a lecture. It was more just a thing where, like, an introduction type of thing. So I have another lecture at like 6 p.m. So that's yeah, 6 p.m. That's in 4 hours. So I've got 4 hours to basically try and package as many things as possible. Oh, so you study fashion design. So you do English courses in fashion design. That's crazy. Someone's asking me if I go to CSM. Yes, I do go to CSM. I feel like because every time I have new people that subscribe to the channel, so I study fashion journalism at CSM for anyone that's like new to the channel. Shout out to Vancouver. Shout out to Vancouver. Someone said it was going to be more expensive. Yeah, so I can explain that actually. So essentially what happened was like so my next Patreon video, which I'm planning to film today or tomorrow actually, is going to be about the finances of my magazine. And basically I was initially going to sell it for 80 because like basically the price I'm selling it for now, I'm earning no profit, but it was just a thing where I was like questioning my own morals. Like, am I doing it for money or am I doing it because I care about creatives that are underrepresented and I actually care about representing these people. And I was going to charge it at 80 because then if I had charged £80 for the print version, it would have been like, I wouldn't have earned much profit, maybe like £5, £10 per magazine, but bringing it down all the way to 45, I literally earn 0% profit. But it's cool though, because that's not what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it for passion. It's not really I'm trying to make £1 million type of project. So that's why last minute I was just like, actually, I'll just like slash the price. But yeah. But what I'm packing now is my tote bag. So if anyone wants to buy any, link in the description of the live stream. Are all my classes online? No. So at CSM we have 2 days in school and then the rest is online. So like today is online, but tomorrow I'm going into CSM. So it should be cool. Should be fun. I talked about the Givenchy collection in my last live stream. So yeah, if you want to watch that live stream, you've got to subscribe to the Patreon. There's no way. Like, I know people complain that like, oh, why don't you leave the live streams on your channel? And there's many different reasons. One of them being that leaving live streams on the channel is not good for like SEO, so it fucks up with my views and stuff of future videos. So that's one reason. And the second reason is if I have a Patreon, which I do, people literally pay to be on that Patreon. So there has to be an incentive to actually be a Patreon. So all my live streams after the fact do go on my Patreon. So yeah. They're never going to be posted. Otherwise, what's the point of subscribing to the Patreon then? So I'm never really going to like leave them public. Someone said, "What's your Patreon?" Okay, hold on. Is it not in the description? Wait, hold on. Let me add it to the description real quick. I think it's not. I think I didn't add it. Dun dun dun. By the way, shout out to everyone that watched my Converse video. That video seems to be doing pretty well. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Okay, let me add this to the description quickly. Okay, so if you check the description of this live stream right now, you might have to refresh it. You should see my Patreon. Thoughts on the last CSM MA show? I was in it. Um, Funny enough, I haven't seen the last CSM MA show. I watched the BA show like 50 times because it was so good. For some weird reason, I haven't seen the MA show yet, so I actually need to watch that. So that's actually a really good question. But the BA show, which is what I did watch, had some amazing designers like Alexandra Shipa, there was Bradley Sharp, Jisoo Jang, like man, endless people that I like learnt their names and I follow them on Instagram and like I'm following their career because their work was like really good. So yeah. How does your live stream affect views when you leave it on the channel? So actually that's a long story, but basically on YouTube like decides how much to push your videos based on how your video performs in the first 24 hours and how good the last one performs. So essentially, when you live stream, because it's like my live streams are like 10 hours, 6 hours, no one's really going to watch that unless you're like live watching the live stream. So what then happens is this is getting really technical now. But then what then happens is actually YouTube, well, the algorithm decides that no one really wants to watch this video because you've just posted it and no one's really watching it. So then the next video you post after that, YouTube as a platform doesn't really push your video to like subscribers and stuff. So then you fuck up your views. Because like retention rate is like one of those stats that's like really important for YouTubers. So like I say I don't care about views because I like if I cared about views I'd make only certain types of videos, but I still if I'm going to put effort into making videos you kind of want to maximize it. But if I cared only about views then I would make, I don't know, how Chanel's perfume became, and I could probably still make that video, but like that's all I'll be making, how Chanel's perfume became famous. How I wouldn't make videos about obscure designers like Isabel Benedetto and stuff like that I know no one knows, so they're not going to get views like that. Blessed man with a tote still, or I'm making explain. Oh my god, Joker. So he said your collection was the grey minimalist one. Okay, well, is it on YouTube? Because while I'm packing these orders, we can watch it on YouTube. Give me a sec. CSMMA. Is it the one that was no, it must have been the digital one, right? Or is it the one that was 7 months ago? Is it the 7 months ago one? It must be. Okay, let's see if I can get this on the screen. He said, I'm taking journalism class in high school because of you and it sucks, not gonna lie. Oh my god, don't feel like you have to do journalism because of me. Because the difference is like I actually have a passion in journalism, so it's a bit different. Like some people, journalism is not where their passion lies. So I wouldn't like you have to find your own personal passion and then work with that. Like for me personally, I wanted to be a designer at first. I interned at a few brands and then realized quickly that my calling was not fashion design, it was journalism. So you have to kind of find yourself. But yeah, that's what I will say. Okay, so the 7 months ago one. All right, perfect. So this should be the right one on the screen. Also, I missed the question actually. Let me go back to it. So someone said it was a really good comment. It was a really good comment. Someone said I shouldn't devalue myself. I don't mind paying. Yeah, but like, so the annoying thing is like, I don't think people even realize how much things cost. So, like, for example, my tote bags are £40, and people are like, oh my God, that's so expensive for a tote bag. And it's like, not really when you only make 200. And like, yeah, but people just don't get how business works. So they're always going to have some shit to say. And then also, I question my morals in terms of like, how many people can realistically afford like an £80 print magazine? So like, I don't know, maybe there's things in future that I'll be able to charge more for. I just didn't want to do that for my magazine personally. But yeah. He said he's watching the Fashion Archive at work. Oh my God. Yo, shout out to Day. Shout out Day. Everyone go subscribe to Day's channel. She makes amazing videos. She makes crazy videos. Okay, let's actually start packing now. Start the packaging. Yeah, so you say my tote is affordable, but people don't get it though. Because to some people, they're like, why does it cost 40? And what I'm looking forward to is now that I'm shipping it, because so much time actually went into making sure the tote bags are like really, really high quality. That's why my profit margins, just like my magazine, are quite terrible. But I don't mind. It's more about if you ever put a product onto the market, you just have to make sure it's a quality product so that in the future you build a reputation as someone who doesn't make like shitty products and charges a lot for it. So then that reputation, you can then leverage that in the future. So I don't really mind too much now. But even at £40, people think like it's too expensive because they're used to like buying really cheap tote bags that you can't carry anything in for like $10. So it's kind of hard to convince someone that they should buy my tote bag. He said, but the Rick Owens totes are free. No, they're not. You have to buy like $1,000 jackets to have a free tote bag. Someone said, "What's my margin?" Do you mean like profit margins? That's a question for Patreon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But just to answer the question, so with every tote bag I sell, I earn a flat profit. Now we're talking like profit of £5. So shipping cost plus production cost plus sampling cost plus everything put into play, it cost me £35 in total for the whole thing, and then I'm selling it for 40. So I mean, if I sold loads, then it would equate to a lot of money. But as I have sold a pretty decent amount, but not like loads. So it's not like I'm swimming in like loads of money. Someone said, why not use East Asian child labor cheaper and faster and they don't talk as much? This guy is out of pocket. Out of pocket. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Will I do another production? Nah, I don't think so. I like doing like one-off projects. I like the idea of it. Like if you buy it, like you have a moment of history and like no one else has it once it's gone type of thing. I kind of like that sort of stuff. So I wouldn't, if I make new tote bags later, because to be fair, this is really just merch to go in my magazine. There's like nothing special. However, I think kind of like, if you guys know the magazine 032C, they have like capsule collections, but they started as a magazine that just made merch. So I'm kind of like the same. where basically as I progress in my career or whatever, or as my magazine progresses, then I'll move into like making capsule collections and stuff like that, which would be pretty cool. Said 90% margin is the only margin I can take serious in the fashion industry, less than you don't know the business. What's your thoughts on this new wave, these hype beasts from 2017, 2018, 2019, and now are on now, such as New Balance, pleat, flared denim, and Jounds? I wouldn't say it's like a new wave. I mean, hype beast to me is like a mentality. It has nothing to do with brands. So to me, if someone who we would consider, like most people consider a hype beast, to me at least, is someone who wears clothing not because they necessarily like it, but for the approval of others, or because they know that if they like wear that stuff, people are going to be like, oh, you're so stylish, you wear Isemiyaki, you know about Isemiyaki, so you must be really stylish, you wear pleats. I see those type of people as hype beasts. So that can apply. There's people that wear Rick Owens that are like that to me. So it's not really a brand thing, it's more a mentality thing. So it's really hard to say just based off the brand someone wears. Because, like, for example, I'm a huge fan of Supreme, but then people associate Supreme with like being a hype beast, which if because I like Supreme, people want to call me a hype beast, then I guess I'm a hype beast. But for me, I'm just kind of the type of person, I like what I like. And if you genuinely like Supreme or whatever, and that's really what you like, then you're not really a hype beast, are you? You're just a Supreme fanatic. Thoughts on the Waitrose by the uni? I was oh my god. Okay, this is hilarious actually, because this guy basically he did an MA at CSM, right? And at CSM, there's a Waitrose right outside. And for guys who don't live in the UK, Waitrose is like grocery shopping for like really, really rich people. I don't know why they decided to have a Waitrose outside a student building. It makes absolutely no sense. But yeah, at CSM, we have a Waitrose outside our building. Maybe they think that fashion students have a lot of money. I have no idea. And it's just annoying. Okay, so people said, have I considered doing coffee mugs? Maybe I might do that, but like the problem with coffee mugs is how useful are they? So like, okay, explaining my tote bags, for example, when it comes to my tote bags, there's so many things I considered. He said he wrote about it for his BA dissertation. No way. Yeah, so when it comes to my tote bags, for me, it was all about fixing problems that I have had. So a good example, some of the cheap tote bags I've had in the past, because they're so flimsy, I can't carry heavy things in them. So it's really, really difficult to like wear tote bags because most of the tote bags I've had were just so shit and so flimsy. So with my tote bags, I use this really, really thick cotton canvas material that can carry anything essentially. A second thing with tote bags is like tote bags don't have zips, most tote bags, and I never understood why. So obviously I added a zip with my tote bag because it's like when it comes to like people stealing your stuff, I put cameras and stuff in my tote bag. I don't want someone to just like dip their hand into my tote bag and steal my like literally end up stealing all my stuff. So I was like, okay, let me add a zip. So it was really about fixing problems. But with a mug, it's just like, I get it. It's good, like profit margins wise, but it's just like, what am I fixing? Like, what's the, I don't know. Like with a mug, I just don't see what value I'm bringing in any way. So that's a hard one. But keep coming with the ideas. Keep coming with the ideas though. Okay, that's one finally packed. I've got like how many to go? Loads. He said, "We're so quick to judge others in the industry. People started out as a hype beast and evolved their own style and start to understand what they wear and why. It's nice to see that evolution." That's also true. That's true for sure. He said, "We used to have." Wait, hold on. What did he say? We used to have I'm at CSM, aren't you? Tote bags back in the day. Interesting. I'll show you what they have now. Obviously, you would know. Wait, hold on, I'm coming. I'll show you guys. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, I was gonna actually show you guys the CSM tote bags, but I can't even find mine. So to be continued. But yeah, someone said condom. Yo, that is uncharted territory. The thing is, I could actually do some shit like that on like a joke thing. That would be hilarious. That's actually quite a cool idea because fashion designers love to sell sex. Think of designers like, I don't know, Calvin Klein. That was like his big thing, or designers like that. Why are some fashion colleges seen as more superior to others? My friend is doing a foundation year in fashion design. Will he be at a disadvantage going into the industry if he earns a degree there? Um, so okay, let me put it this way. Fashion is not like engineering or like medicine. With most medical schools or whatever, things are so perfectly standardized to the point where if you have like medical degree from any like average decent school, they're not going to be like, you can't be a doctor because you didn't go to Harvard. But with fashion, it's kind of the level of education, it ranges so vastly from like lecturers who I've met who don't know anything about fashion. I'm like, why are you a lecturer? And then some that are literally like brain boxes. So at CSM, I think it's an addition of the network, which is probably the most important thing because in fashion, it's more who you know rather than what you know. And in addition to that, it's also things like the actual teachers we have at CSM. So, for example, my pathway leader on my course is this woman named Judith Watt, and she is like a fashion like brain box. Like she knows everything. She's like a fashion historian. So you guys can even like find her on YouTube. She has some like episodes on like Show Studio and stuff. If you guys are interested in like hearing her, because she's just crazy smart. And she also wrote a book on McQueen, actually, if you guys want to buy that. So it's kind of that's kind of the reason why. That being said, though, there is a wide range of like really good schools. People like to pretend like only CSM's like the be all end all, which is not true. There's like really good fashion schools like Westminster, at least in London, Westminster, RCA, UCA. There's so many like really, really, really good schools. But then outside of some schools, like there's some that are just really, really bad. Like, and at the end of the day, you have to play the game. Like, if you know fashion is the type of industry where they care about where you go to school, then it's probably more important if you're going to spend loads of money on a degree to probably go to school that like you're probably going to have a job by the end of it. Someone said the Fashion Archive crowbar. Someone said I need to make leather condoms. Oh my god. Oh, people asking what's her name. Her name is Judith. What? Check her out. She's amazing. Um, she's also very scary at the same time. She's lovely and scary at the same time. Like, okay, so tomorrow we have this essay, right, that we were supposed to write. And tomorrow when I go into uni, we're actually going to present it to my classmates. Well, I'm going to present my essay to my classmates, and then I'm going to get critiqued by my two lecturers, like Judith Watt and Claire Coulson, in front of the class. So that's interesting. That's going to be interesting, getting ripped apart, but it's cool. Comes with the territory, I guess. Okay, so the fashion archive hat. Yeah, so that's actually an idea of something I want to make later. I kind of just want to sell all my tote bags first before like moving on to another like project. But yeah, hats is definitely a thing for sure. I'm just trying to think of like how I can be creative with it, because with the tote bags I actually did solve a problem. I just have to like sit down for a moment and like actually have a think on like what next I could make. But yeah. And just make sure, you know, quality control, guys. Make sure everything's good. Make sure the zip's a-okay. Okay, this is good. Okay, someone said, do you have any advice on networking as a creative in London? In the quarantine, it's really difficult for me to give advice on that. But before the quarantine, yes. Just leave your house. In London, there are literally events every single day. Like before the quarantine, at least, there's some sort of fashion event almost damn near every single day, where there's going to be someone worth like networking with. So really, you just have to be a hustler. Like, fashion is one of those industries where you have to be a hustler. Unless your name is like Stella McCartney and your dad's a Beatle, then you can kind of skip steps. But for most of us, from working class backgrounds or, you know, normal people, you just have to hustle. You have to hustle your way. So just leave your house. Like, that's the best advice I can give you, especially if you're in London. Like, don't waste it. Like, so many people would love the opportunity to be in like a fashion city like London. So if you like live in London or you have access to London, don't waste your opportunities. That's what I will say. Someone's asking, is Magnus Running still alive? Yes, Magnus Running is alive and well. Magnus Running is cool. I saw Alex had a really good comment about CSM MA. Give me a sec, let me read that. Because obviously this show I'm not really focusing on like what's going on. So he said, Cecile Tolkien's Joshua Crabtree and Ding and Zhang are the only promising designers from this crop. CSM MA show 2020. That's not a good ratio at all. Interesting. I'd have to obviously have a look for myself and see which ones like I personally like. But that's interesting. Okay, I can see Ding Yang Zhang's collection like coming out right now. Yeah, interesting. He said, very jealous of people who live in big cities just because of the stuff going around them. Yeah, I am very privileged to like have grown up in London, to live in London. Like, I'm not oblivious to that fact. Even though like London isn't like, all that glitters isn't gold. like I feel like we put a lot of these cities like London and Paris on a pedestal, but at the end of the day, like I wasn't rich. I wasn't a rich kid, so everything wasn't like really, really good. But at least I was in London. There's many opportunities in London. You can make like something out of nothing in London. So in that regard, definitely very privileged for sure. This is getting a bit sexual. He said, "Can I make a sex toy?" The Fashion Archive sex. That's the thing. What does a sex toy? Let's try and think of like marketing here, guys. What does a sex toy have to do with the Fashion Archive? What do you say? He didn't even name Paulino. He had a collab with Adidas that just came out. Yeah, that's obviously his opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, though, for sure. Just obviously, me personally, I haven't seen it, so I can't really have an opinion on something I haven't really looked into yet. I can only just like say, okay, that's interesting, like based on other people's opinions. So doing well is not the same as being good. Okay, people are getting a bit too. It's all about dicks now. It's become a dick stream. What happened to my stream? Thoughts on Jound? I don't. Yeah, I agree. Alex said, doesn't mean all judgment can be reserved. Yeah, I agree. Thoughts on Jound? So Jound, I kind of know something about. I know it's obviously like a brand out of Canada, if I'm not mistaken. 9 a.m. That's great. Sorry, just replying to an email. Okay, cool. So what was I even saying? I totally forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, Jound. I know it's like a brand out of Canada. I know they make multiple creative stuff. That being said, like I still don't get it really because I haven't really looked into the brand. And once again, I'm the type of guy, if I haven't looked into a brand enough, I'm not really going to give you an opinion. Because I know, especially like if I give an opinion, a lot of people are going to like take that opinion and like kind of run with it. So at least if I'm going to give an opinion, it has to be informed. So I don't really know too much about Jound to really be talking about the brand, to be honest. I haven't really looked into it that much. I've seen some of the Reebok collab stuff they've made. I've seen like the water bottles or whatever. I don't even know what type of brand it is. Like, is it a fashion brand? Is it? I have no idea. Someone said, how do I find good brands before they become washed by the mainstream and I feel disgusting for wearing them? How you do that is just don't buy brands when people tell you it's cool to wear it. If you see something you like on a personal level, buy it. Whether that's thrifted, something that you've thrifted, whether that's, I don't know, you've just gone into a random fashion store, you don't know what the brand is, but you like the aesthetic of the piece, then obviously buy it. And then on a higher level, obviously, I don't know what your finances are like. If you're a rich kid, go into Dover Street Market is definitely one of the best ones. Because DSM, their buying is next to none. So it's a thing where you can go into DSM and find out some obscure brand, that you've never heard of before. And then a couple years later, it's probably going to be like really mainstream. So yeah. Okay, so what did they say about Jound? Premium stuff, not exactly innovative. all the time, minimal and slick. Love them, but god dang, resale be hurtful. Okay, so I didn't even know that like Jound had like a very strong resale market. That's interesting. That's quite interesting actually. When did I start getting into fashion? Oh, ages ago. Oh my god. I think I've answered this question quite a few times at this point. But it was after I did my first serious internship. That's when I would say I got seriously into fashion. So that was 2016. So 4 years ago, I'd say like 2016 is when I started like actually like reading books and stuff. Before then, I like knew who Yoji was. I had friends that wore Rick. Like I knew what Com was, but I didn't really get it. I just had friends that wore it, thought it was cool, saw it on an aesthetic level, but I never really looked further. I'd say I didn't really start looking further into anything till 2016. So yeah. Someone told me that if you're getting into brands just because it's hyped, it's just as bad as if you stop wearing it because it's hype and mainstream. Yeah. And the thing is, if you buy, okay, so for example, I really love Rick Owens. Like Rick Owens is not my favorite designer. Like I wouldn't say he's my like favorite designer. Like, oh my god, Rick Owens. But on a wearability level, Rick is one of the few brands that for my height, I can wear all his stuff. So I just end up buying a lot of Rick. But now it's becoming popular. I don't really care because at the end of the day, it works for me personally. So why would I care whether it's becoming like Rick is becoming a hype brand or not? It's really like I could care less. Like I like it personally, so I'm always gonna wear it, whether no one likes it in a few years or everyone likes it. So I think just find what you like and stick with that and not worry about whether it's hyped or other people are wearing it. That shouldn't really be a concern, to be honest. What did Alex say? Minimal and slick, but I doubt anyone would purchase their stuff if it didn't say Jound on it. Not exactly the pinnacle of minimalism. That's a fair enough take. ALD is also a super nice minimal brand. What does ALD stand for? Am I supposed to know what that means? I feel like I am. Okay, we watched that video. Oh, Amy Leon Dor. Okay. I didn't know there was like an abbreviation for it. I had no idea. But is that brand minimal though? They kind of just like make workwear jackets and hoodies from what I know. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. Anime Leon Dor. Yeah, kind of like Noah. Like, yeah, Noah makes beanies and hoodies and sometimes like these like jackets, workwear kind of looking jackets. It's cool though. It's cool. Like for the target demographic. Like everything doesn't have to be super avant-garde, like a La Croix, I don't know, couture dress, like because a lot of people in fashion act like that. Sometimes, like, cool it down. Like, sometimes I want to wear Rick and look crazy. Sometimes I just really just want to wear Y3 and look basic. Like, it just depends on the mood. Okay, are there more interviews with people like Lee? Yes. If you like, I'm not sure when you like found out about my channel, but essentially my whole thing was I want my platform eventually to be a place where I interview well-known designers, but ask them the questions that like are too edgy for like journalists to ask, because obviously they're under like a big corporation, whether it's Vogue or whatever. So there's certain things they just can't ask that I would. I kind of want to get some really, really, really deep discussions with designers going. So hopefully, when my channel becomes more established, it's a thing where I could like interview Martine Rose, like some of my favorite designers like Martine Rose or Rick, which is probably very highly unlikely, or like I don't know, like who else is like a young budding designer that I'd love to interview? There's a lot of them. Yeah, but that's kind of what I wanted. That's kind of a part of my channel I want to incorporate, because it's all good and well, like me obviously making videos about the history of fashion, about different designers, but it's also good just to get a designer's perspective straight from like their mouth, because at the end of the day, I'm still a journalist and not a designer. So there is just some sort of like design insight that I will never know on the level of like someone who's an actual designer at like a house or something. Your opinion on people paying $2,000 on a pair of barely unusable 85 Jordans instead of getting retros? Man, hype makes people do stupid things. That's my opinion on it. No. I don't. If you're like a collector, because some people genuinely like, the reason they buy it is not to wear it. The reason they buy it is because like they just like what it represents in terms of like sneaker design history. So I get that part. But that being said, let's not pretend like a lot of people aren't just buying 85 Jordans because that's the hype thing to do right now. Like if you want to be part of the Archive Boys crew, it's kind of easy to know like what type of person they are though, because like in the UK, for example, people who I consider like sneakerheads, they care about like the same way like I care about design is the way they care about like footwear design. So the type of sneakerheads you'll see in the UK, they collect things like Saucony, Diadora, like some of the early designs like Puma, Adidas. Like that's someone I'd consider a collector. So if someone like that had Jordan 85s, it wouldn't be far-fetched. But if I see someone who their whole sneaker closet is Off-White Jordan, like all Nike collabs, all recent Nike collabs, all hype, like Cores, Jordan 4s and all that stuff, and I know like why they're buying the 85. So it really just depends on the person, to be fair, as to whether it's like stupid or not. But me personally, I don't care about stuff like that. Like, I'm not rich at the end of the day. Maybe that's why I'm speaking like this. Maybe things will change if I become rich one day. But right now, it's very dumb to spend $2,000 on like Jordans that are wearing away. Like me personally, if I had $2,000, I'd put that in my savings account, in my ISA account, get good interest, and that hopefully will be part of the money that I can use in the future to buy my own house. But yeah, that's just me. Is it common to see new houses? Wait, hold on. Let me just make sure I'm following this the right way. Okay, yeah. Is it common to see new houses form? For example, could a house for this year and then work its way up into luxury status, or this hasn't happened recently? I think I've only seen Alexander McQueen, probably missing someone. Yeah, to be fair, in terms of like recent houses, it really... Let me have a think on that. Apart from McQueen, who in the recent times has had a namesake house that has really grown to prominence? LaCroix, I could say LaCroix, but like LaCroix is like not that recent. I guess people like Calvin Klein. Would you consider those luxury houses though? like Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, like those are kind of pretty recent, I guess. My opinion on Kiko Costadino's actual collection. Which one? Which one? Also, if you guys don't know, I reviewed Kiko's Spring Summer 20 show. So if you guys haven't checked that video out, check it out. I made that like last year, I think, sometime last year. But yeah. So, my opinion on Kiko Costadino's actual collection. Yeah, you have to specify. Doing fashion in art A level, any galleries in London you recommend? I can't really recommend any right now because it's a thing where it's just like, well, I kind of don't know many that are open right now, so I don't want to lead you astray, like get your hopes up and tell you galleries that aren't open. But DM me on Instagram. I'll have a think about that. I'm planning on buying 85s, but then use them as an investment piece later on in life for my brand. That's cool. This is a weird question, but are there any fashion museums? Yeah, the V&A is not a fashion museum though. That's an art museum. That's the thing. So there's fashion in it sometimes, but the V&A is really just like there's always fashion stuff. I mean, yeah. Oswald Boateng has shown there. Like so many people have been through the V&A, from like even Schiaparelli, Prada, endless lineup. There's even what's that museum at the Barbican, like near the Barbican? What's it called again? I've totally forgotten. What's it called? That Brutalist Barbican Museum. It's literally skipped my mind right now. But that's a really good museum to check out. I feel like if you're interested in fashion, you shouldn't really only look to fashion for inspiration. You should look to art because, yeah, they tie in so much together. Thoughts on Jound New Balance? Yeah, people keep asking me about Jound. I don't really know too much about Jound. Should I? Like, comment in the live stream comment section whether I should know about these brands or not. Shout out to this guy, by the way, for tuning in. I don't know if it's a he or she or a they, to be fair. So let me stop assuming people's pronouns before I get cancelled. One big museum that's just archived. So I know like magazine archives, like I know archives for like just big museums for magazines. I know select places where you can like by appointment. There's like a lot of archive pieces that are in these places. There are also stores in London like Arrow Archive where you they have a lot of archive pieces that you can kind of look at if you want to do like a bit of fashion research on like old pieces. There's pockets of places here and there, but the only issue is most of these places are not open to like the public, so they're appointment only, and they're only going to open it for like important people, so not people like us basically. If Anna Winter like wanted to pull some strings, then yeah, she could go into those archives, but like mere mortals like us, not really, not so much. Okay, so Kiko Fall Winter 20. Did I review that one? Wait, let me have a look. Let me refresh my mind on Kiko Fall Winter 20. Give me a sec. But I didn't review Fall Winter 20. I reviewed Spring Summer 20. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Keep going forward to 20. Oh, this collection. Ah. Oh. Yeah, I didn't actually look into this collection too deeply. I need to revisit that one. So I don't really have too many opinions on that. What's my IG? My IG is at Fashion Roadman. I'll put it in give me a sec. Yeah, so I'll put it in the chat. Favorite brands, favorite use of music during a show. So my favorite brand of all time is Andy Meister. That's my favorite designer of all time. Well, actually, no. There's a trilogy of like my favorite fashion designers. So Madeline Vianney, Andy Meister, and Yohji Yamamoto. But those three designers are kind of inspired by each other in a way. Um, Andy Meister is inspired by Madeline Vianney and Yohji. Yohji is inspired by Madeline Vianney, and Madeline is just the mastermind behind it all, essentially. Um, so yeah, those are like my favorite designers. In terms of like music, use of music in a collection, there's a lot of like Andy shows that I'm a big fan of music. Like even recently there was a Sebastian Munier collection. I can't remember which one it was. Was it Fall Winter 20? I think so. Called Afternoon of the Fawn. And that was inspired by Ninjinsky. And that the music in that collection was amazing, and it really tied into the like the message of the collection. But how do I spell Andy's name? Andy. Yeah, we call her Andy because her last name is pretty long. So yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Andy Meister. Most times I do say Andy Meister, but from time to time the Belgians, they come for me hard. They're like, how can you say she's your favorite designer and you don't say Andy Meister? It's like, chill out, guys. I know how to say her name. My mouth just doesn't work that way because I do not speak Flemish. I don't speak French. So the way my mouth moves and the way I speak the language is very different, guys. So if you cut me some slack, you crazy bastards. No, I'm joking. Oh, Madeline Vianney. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. Art Apples just wonderfully spelt it out for you. If anyone wants to, Madeline is like the master of us all. So if you guys should really read up on like Madeline and her work, especially there's so many people that like say they're fans of Yohji, and I'm like, okay, so you must be a huge fan of Madeline Vianney, and they're like, who's that? And I'm like, the person that Yohji said he's inspired by, and the person that Yohji references like a lot. And you're supposed to be a Yohji fan, but that's like neither here nor there. It's like it's a thing. I talk about this in every live stream. Like I rant about it all the time. Like the issue I have with fashion is like it's almost like people throw fashion out the like fashion history out the window. Like anything past like the 1990s, people just like discard. So like if we're not talking McQueen, Margiela, Raf Simons or whatever, like fashion doesn't exist basically, which annoys me a lot. Please share your thoughts about Matthew Williams' first Givenchy collection. I don't want to talk about it because I did a whole live stream about it. I'm sorry, but I just I get it. Like Margiela's cool, but okay, even because people act like, so I made this video, right? And this is basically just me ranting. It's called Why There Is No Such Thing as the Greatest Fashion Designer of All Time. And obviously I couldn't go deep into it because I didn't want the video to be too long. But in this live stream, for example, just think of it this way. If Madeleine Vianney did not exist, Yoji wouldn't design the way he does now. So, I mean, you can say Yoji's the greatest designer of all time, but to me, that makes no sense when there are clear people that have influenced his design right now. So really, what you can say is that there are great designers, but to pinpoint one specific person as the greatest designer of all time in fashion that is so subjective is insane to me. Like how people say with so much confidence, Margiela is the greatest designer to ever live. It's like, no, you're chatting shit. Like you're actually talking rubbish. But yeah, that's me just ranting again. I love Margiela, by the way. It's just people hold him on this crazy pedestal, like Schiaparelli does not exist, or Madeleine does not exist. Chill out. Oh, almost dropped my webcam there. Is the live stream available? Unfortunately, it's not. All my live streams go onto my Patreon. So, I mean, if you have $3 to spare, you can subscribe to my Patreon and then you can watch the live stream. Opinions on the worst fashion designer websites. That is the craziest question I've ever gotten. I don't know. I'd have to have a think about that because I haven't really gone on any designers' websites for a while, so I've probably forgotten most of them. I can tell you some good websites though, off the top of my head. Where's my wrapping paper? I've lost my wrapping paper. Ah, there it is. It was under a pile of rubble. Actually, what I want to know what type of people in this live stream. So if you guys comment who your personal favorite designer is, I just want to know, some of people's favorite designers. This will be quite interesting. I kind of find it crazy that 98 people would watch my live stream. I'm such a boring person. I'm so sorry, guys. And to make things even more boring, I'm literally packing tote bags. There's nothing more boring than that. But thank you very much to 98 people. Okay, sorry, my screen froze. Okay, so let's see. Also, I need to, because I think this question has been asked a few times, but let me go through this real quick. So, favorite fashion designers: Daniel Lee, Alex, Reiko Kubo, or Walter Van Berendonk, Kiko, Ray, Virgil Abloh. He's joking. So Ray Kakubo, Pierre Moss. Let's see. Someone said ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky. That's hilarious. Andy Millimeter, Russ Simmons, Old Margello, Craig Green, my favorite four. That's pretty cool. I want to say Margello, but I'm extremely well. You can. So, okay, I think I went on a bit of a tirade there. Margiela can be your favorite designer. Like, Margiela being your favorite designer is different to what people do, where because Margiela is their favorite designer, they what they do is like they say he's the best designer. And I know for a fact those opinions are always uneducated opinions, because how can you say Margiela is the greatest designer of all time when you don't even know who like Madeleine Vianney is? You don't know who Elsa Schiaparelli is. You don't know who Pierre Cardin is. You don't know who Charles James is. How the hell can you say Margiela is the greatest designer of all time without context of like fashion history going back 200 years? Like, it makes no sense. Like, it's actually such a bad take that I hear people say all the time. But there's no such thing. You can't have a best fashion designer of all time. But Margiela can be your favorite for sure. Like, you can say he's a designer that touches you the most. He's the one that whose creativity, like, you know, relates to you the most, or you personally prefer the most. That's preference. That's like completely fine. But it's so unobjective when the Margiela fanboys start with their whole, oh, he's the best designer of all time. He's the best designer of all time. It's just like, oh, God. Someone said fashion has a reverse James Charles. Yes, fashion does. Fashion has a reverse James Charles. I know. It's crazy to hear. Okay, someone says their favorite designer is Balmain. Fair Noel. So Emma says, to be honest, your voice plus accent works like study music that gives info. That's interesting. Kane and Amia, that's a really nice choice. I love Kay. Kay is amazing. Anyone who likes Olivier. Olivier is really cool. Yeah, I remember there was a live stream I did, because my live streams, I kind of just like go on a tangent, where I specifically was like talking about the work of Kay and like how he makes patterns and how he doesn't really have too many seams when he designs and stuff. Like, his work is just out of this world, like crazy good. So yeah, shout out to Kay. And obviously he's a minion of Ray Kakubo, so I wouldn't expect any less. And I mean like minion in the most respectful way possible. My favorites are McQueen and Vesalia. Shout out to Demna. Shout out to McQueen. The greats. I wonder what, like, because you know, like how obviously Demna is like an amazing designer, and I feel like he's going to be like legendary like for time to come. But I wonder what his legacy will be like when he's done designing. Like, I really find that interesting, because I feel like right now people take for granted how intelligent of a designer Demna is. They think what he does is like a joke and stuff. Like, this man is a genius. I feel like people don't really appreciate people's work until they like retire, they stop. It's like the Margiela effect. Like, when Margiela was designing, people didn't really grasp it until he stopped, and now in looking in hindsight, everyone's like, oh yeah, it was really good. Like, some people even used to, like, if you read what fashion critics used to say about Margiela, like, this cheap recycled clothing, blah blah blah. Like, it's crazy to see those same journalists now, how they did a complete 180. And that's the thing about fashion journalism that I don't like. I think a lot of fashion journalists, they try to be like, have some hot takes just to show that, I don't know whether they think that's what it does, like, show I know about fashion, like I have strong opinions, but most times it just comes across as like pure hate. Like I remember there was a time I watched this interview where Susie Menkes was describing um Vivienne Westwood collection she didn't like, and she was just absolutely hating. It wasn't even, she was like, this collection it was so bad, it made me mad. It made me mad in the way that I just wanted to get a pie, custard pie, and throw it in someone's face. And I'm just like, okay, that's just unnecessary. Anna Wintour walked out of a Margiela show because she thought it was a joke. Man, who cares what Anna Wintour thinks? What the hell does she know? Like, huh? Anna Wintour is just like, I don't even want to disrespect her because one day I might work for Vogue, but like, touche. Anna Wintour to me is just a girl who, her dad was a really famous journalist, so she kind of stumbled across some big time jobs because she leveraged the connections from daddy, and she found herself in big positions. Anna Wintour, she calls herself a journalist. Never seen anything she's written in my whole life. I've never heard her say anything critical about a collection. Like, I've never heard Anna Wintour say something smart, like something about a time frame of like art period and relate it back to why she doesn't like a collection or whatever. I've just heard her say really basic stuff. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like this. It's like, man, yeah, Anna Wintour, when it comes to like fashion opinions and stuff, I could care less what Anna Wintour thinks. Like, it means nothing to me. But I want to know what people that are actually intellectual have to say. Like, what does Tim Blanks think about the collection? What does Kathy Horan think? What does Robin Gavin think? What does Judith Watt think? Like, intellectual people. I don't care what Anna Wintour, like, what the hell does she know? Like, she just happens to be the head of Vogue. Okay, well done. Like, you're not critical. Like, I don't really care about your opinion, mate. Wait, J Hus has a brand? I didn't know that. That's interesting. Right. Now that you're fulfilling orders, what are your thoughts of the growing amount of brands that take pre-orders and never ship? I've I've kind of expressed my disdain for that shit. Like, man, I just never understand why you do pre-orders and then you don't ship a product, because because some of these people, they get away with like stealing people's money and never shipping anything, which, okay, fair enough, but like, people, I think when it comes to business, they're so short-sighted, because like, no matter, unless you're making millions from a pre-order, so you're telling me for a couple $1,000 or pounds that you stole people's money and didn't ship anything, or you shipped it late, you're going to sacrifice your whole reputation, and then people just won't like buy stuff from you ever again, because they're like, yeah, he's not reliable, he doesn't ship, just because of like, it's just crazy that people run businesses like that. It's just, yeah, I feel like a lot of people that try to run businesses, they're just not ready to run a business. Like, if you say you're going to ship on a certain date, ship on that date. Like, don't tell me, oh, there's a delay. Like, you're a business. Like, you're supposed to like make sure that you plan for things like that. So yeah, man, I have strong views on the whole people doing pre-orders and not shipping. Like, it's annoying, because it's bad on me, because I'm like kind of like an online creator doing like pre-orders, and then if someone has had a bad experience with like another online creator they follow who didn't ship, then they're just gonna associate me with those like stupid people and think, I'm not sure, because these online creators, like, they don't ship their stuff. It's just annoying. It's like, just ship your orders. Like, if you want to run a business, like, behave like someone with a business. Don't behave like a little kid that can't ship orders on time. Do you think pre-orders would be okay if it's made to order and the making time is disclosed? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, I mean, I did pre-orders with my tote bags. only because I didn't want to spend all of my money up front to like get all the inventory. But I told everyone when I would be shipping, which is tomorrow. And this is why I'm packing orders now, because I'm literally shipping everything tomorrow. It's not that hard to just ship things on time. Like, how hard could it possibly be to ship stuff on time? It's really not that hard. Like, it really isn't. He said, I is the only man your money is safe with. Now, there's other people who actually have reliable businesses, but there are a lot of people, especially like online creators, who just, when it comes to shipping, it's a mess. But yeah. Yeah, I know about Misbehave. Misbehave is that like Polish fashion brand, isn't it? I've never really looked at like the inspirations of like a Misbehave collection or the references, but looking at it on face value, there's definitely some interesting stuff. I would really want to know, because Misbehave being a Polish brand, and this happens with a lot of brands that are lost in translation actually. I feel like a lot of elitist-y, fashion-y type people, they see brands like wait, sorry, I made a mistake here. Yeah, they see brands like Misbehave as like the type of brand that makes streetwear clothing. But I feel like if you look deeper, you could probably see references to like Polish references and really interesting stuff if you just like look deeper. So I don't really want to paint it with like the streetwear brush like I've seen some people paint it with. I'm sure there's like a lot of like crazy stuff that I'm missing at face value for sure. He said, once you get to thousands of orders, it might get more complicated. Not really. Not really. So, okay, let me give you a reason why it won't be complicated. So, with my magazine, right, the factory that in London that I'm printing my magazine with, they have an option to where, like, if you want to, they can fulfill orders for you, because they're like a whole massive business. They're used to fulfilling orders in like the tens of thousands, like on time, right? So I'm just shipping orders myself now because it's not so many to where I can't ship it. But if my business got bigger, then I'll just invest in like some like making my shipping become more like automated. So having it like all automatic, like from a factory and all that stuff. So that's still not an excuse. Like if you're selling in the thousands, that's a reason to outsource your shipping process. Like it's not a reason to just say, I've got so many orders, so it's hard for me to ship. That's a cop out. That's, once again, this is what I mean. Like if you want to run a business, like actually run a business like someone that runs a business. Don't run it like a primary school kid that doesn't know what they're doing. Like if you have a business, then you have to learn how to ship whatever number of products you're shipping. Like, man, the way some people treat businesses is crazy. Crazy. Some guys are speaking some like language I don't understand in the chat. So enjoy your discussion, guys. I'm seeing Haida. I'm seeing Baluti. Yeah, it looks like German to me, but I'm not 100% sure what language that is. Yeah, it does look like German. How was interning at Stella McCartney? It was fun. It was challenging. It was interesting. For legal reasons, I'm not sure how much I can say. But it was definitely like extremely challenging for one. He said it would be funny if I made a video telling brands how to ship. Oh yeah, sorry, I keep forgetting. Like, if you guys want to join the live stream, by the way, be my guest. Let me drop the link in the chat. I always do this, but I forget sometimes. But if you want to talk about fashion, if you have a brand, you want to talk about your brand, or you're a designer, or you just want to talk about fashion in general, then you can hop on the live stream through that link. Shout out to Jorty. You have a nice day too, and sleep well. Okay, someone asked me about the Virgil Abloh app. I haven't actually looked into it. I saw that he posted something about it, but I haven't had time to really look at it. So yeah, you guys can explain to me what the deal is with Virgil Abloh's app, because I don't know what's like going on with that. How efficient are made-to-order methods? It really depends. There's so many different types of made-to-order, like ways of doing things. So it's broad. He said it's mad early here in LA. In London, it's a good time. It's 3 p.m., 3:30 p.m. I'm just going to be on this live till I have my CSM lecture. My CSM lecture is not until 6. So we'll be streaming till then. Got like 2 and something more hours. Shout out to Alexa. My thoughts on unpaid internships. Unpaid internships are awful. Like, no one should do an unpaid internship. Like, don't do it. It's not worth it, guys. It's never worth it. Don't do it. And that's what I will say. Let me recycle this. Yeah, Daniel. Yep, I started at CSM today. I had some lectures earlier one lecture earlier in the day, which was pretty interesting. And I have another one later today. Tomorrow, but the ones today are online, which is why I'm at home. Tomorrow, I'm going into CSM, and they're already throwing us in the deep end. Like, I'm presenting my essay, which should be quite interesting. Yeah, CSM's a funny one. Like, CSM's so funny because, like, everyone is always like, oh my God, maybe it's because I studied engineering, but like, everyone's like, oh my God, like Central St. Martin's journalism first year is so intense, like good luck. And then today they told us like everything we're going to do in this term, which is just really a couple of essays and 3 group projects. And everyone's like, that's a lot of work. I'm like, man, when I did engineering, we had group projects like every couple of days. We had lab reports like every week. Like, this is nothing. But I guess it's like in hindsight, because people don't have something to compare it to where I do. So for me, I'm like, man, I'm going to have so much free time to like make YouTube videos. Like, damn. How long are the essays? Between 500 to 1,000 words. What year am I in? I'm in first year. I'm in first year now at CSM. So I just started. I'm a newbie to CSM. I'm a CSM noob. Oh yeah, to all the guys that received these orders, I will say I don't have the most careful hands, but just know that everything was packaged with love by me. That's what I will say. Have I got an outfit for tomorrow? Oh my god, it's not that serious. It's not fashion week or some shit. He said I'm gonna be ripped out. Maybe. For guys that don't know, by the way, all the orders, they come with the Fashion Archive stickers. So you can put the stickers on your laptop or whatever and spread the word. Every day is fashion week. I respect that. I respect that. I definitely respect that. Design suits are gonna sing you out for a makeover. At the end of the day, like, I see myself as like a journalist. So, well, I wouldn't call myself a journalist yet. I'm a journalism student. So I'd call myself an aspiring journalist. As an aspiring journalist, I'm not a stylist. So I don't need to like wear all my Rick Owens pieces just to prove a point. Like, yeah, I've got like fashionable clothes at home. Like, it's just, nah. Like, who am I trying to impress? Like, my classmates? Like, what? Bit strange. You had no idea I did tote bags. Oh my god, my marketing is terrible then. Oh my god. My marketing is awful then. Wow. Yeah, I have merch, which is basically tote bags. If you check out my website, which is in the description of this live stream, you can find my tote bags. That's actually what this stream is. I'm like packaging people's orders. So yeah. He said, if you don't drip drown. He said he's just walking with a typing machine on his back. They said people want me to bring the Acol wool hat back. Oh my god. That hat's iconic, man. Like, people will tell stories about that Acol wool hat. Yeah, the amount of people that don't know about the tote bags, yeah, I must, my marketing strategy, whatever the hell it was, is clearly not working. So maybe, because I say at the end of YouTube videos, so maybe now I need to start saying it at the start of YouTube videos, maybe that will work better. Maybe people don't watch the videos to the end. I don't know. Yeah, my marketing strategy needs help. If you hang out at King's Cross tomorrow, you'll see Aya turn up in full Rick tent. What year do you think people are finally going to stop saying the 90s is back in fashion? Okay, let me just, can I give a hot take real quick? Am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to do that and be very critical about a lot of people in fashion? Am I allowed to do that, guys? So, I feel like a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about, they say buzzwords like the 90s is back in fashion because it sounds smart. But in reality, if you say the 90s is back, it means absolutely nothing, because if we think of the 90s, let's just think of 90s as a time period and the fashion in the 90s, right? There was a prominent minimalism aesthetic going on with people like Helmut Lang, Jill Sander, and Prada. So if you see something really minimal and aesthetic and you say, oh, the 90s are back, then that's an ode to talking about Helmut Lang and Prada and whatever. Also, the power shoulders was something that was big in the 80s, but it was also in the early 90s. So if you see a power shoulder, you can say the 90s are back, and no one's really gonna like call you out for it. Also, there are designers like Victor and Rolf who are making like really crazy stuff, or like even the 90s was a time when we saw Armani's take over. Like that was when Armani was making history in terms of like a tailor making it in like what we would call quote unquote like fashion design circles and stuff. So there's types of tailoring that is synonymous with like what Armani was doing in the 90s, that people see it and they say, oh, the 90s are back. So really, when you say the 90s are back, what do you mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's like, what does that actually mean? Like, are you just trying to sound smart, or are you actually making a point that makes sense? Like, and a lot of people do that thing, and I just don't say anything, but it's like, if you say the 90s are back, it doesn't mean anything, does it? Like, I agree with what this person said. Like, to some degree, the 90s are always in. Exactly. So when someone says the 90s are back, it's not, I don't know, it's not, it doesn't really say much, because there were so many different aesthetics that were prominent in the 90s that for you to just say a buzz term like, oh, the 90s are back, it just doesn't hit it for me. It's a bit of like a buzzwordy thing. It's like what fashion people do a lot. There's certain things that fashion people do, like they use words like bourgeois in like the worst context. But that's like one of those things that they say to like sound very fashiony and like, oh, I'm really smart. Like someone said Armani is whack. Armani's not whack. Armani's iconic. Not that I would ever wear an Armani piece, but I definitely recognize the history that was made by Armani. And because of people like Armani, you have people like Oswald Boateng who followed suit and became great in his own right. But he was mainly inspired by, not in aesthetic, but in like mindset, by people like Armani, and kind of like in business too. So Armani definitely left his mark on fashion, especially from a tailoring perspective. So I'm never really, it's just a different aesthetic. Like it's different to like Com or that really super artsy stuff. But I don't think people realize how complicated it is to make a suit and to master a suit. So when you see someone who masters like the suit, it's a very, very respectful thing. It's because in fashion, like our side of fashion, at least like the type of people that I feel like I attract to this channel are more interested in fashion as like breaking rules and stuff. But you can also at the same time appreciate just the mastery of the form of tailoring, like in the traditional sense. Like there's nothing wrong with that. So can we let the 90s go? Oh my god. So okay, he said Giorgio Armani is actually nowhere near whack though. You gotta look it up and not think about the things you see in stores. Yeah. Emporio Armani, yeah. Another thing about Armani is like, okay, so I was watching this amazing documentary literally this morning when I woke up, right? And it was about like how fashion brands market themselves and how fashion brands make money, and it like went really deep. And they talked about Armani a lot and how he marketed his brand and how he uses the fusion lines and to earn money, and how he built a certain reputation to where he could make the fusion lines for a fraction of the price, and then people for some reason think they're getting Armani, but it's not the same. So yeah, the fusion lines and all that stuff you see, it really has nothing to do with like the legacy of Armani. But yeah, maybe I should make a video on Armani. The only thing though is I'm going to start making a few videos on like tailors. Like my next video should be on Oswald Boateng, but I still need to do a lot of research for that video, so it won't be out for a while. But yeah, I even bought his. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'd have seen I bought A Man's Worth, which is one of Oswald's documentaries. So I bought a DVD. So I'm gonna plow through that maybe tomorrow, some point tomorrow, whatever, when I'm done like shipping all these orders and stuff. So if you see a group of black youths all in capes in South London, then it's me and the boy. Let me just actually weigh these things to make sure I'm actually on weight. I don't know how much these packages weigh. $280 grams. Perfect. So I'm still within range. Okay, great. Great. Would love to see more videos about tailors. Definitely looking forward to the Oswald video. Yeah, I just feel like tailors don't get respect, especially in like our fashion circle of like Com and Rick and all that stuff. Like, it's a lost art, and it's a very important art and skill. And yeah, I just felt like I needed to like focus on a few tailors and talk about the impact of tailors in fashion for sure. I just feel like it's really important to have a totalitarian view on fashion. Yeah, I try my best not to be closed-minded to things. But so as much as I like appreciate a designer like, well, a tailor like Armani, I can appreciate a tailor like McQueen, who really is trained as a tailor, but he learnt the rules to break them, and he made stuff just as amazing. There's someone who is a tailor by trade and just masters the art of tailoring. Do you think it's a good time to start a fashion brand now during these COVID periods? Probably not advisable. Yeah, I wouldn't advise it. Is it just me that goes to buy a garment online, then I put my cursor over it and see the model pic? Then I think, yeah, maybe I just need to go to the gym. Yeah, I'm not sure how many people do that, but yeah. Rick Owens said working out is modern culture, so listen to Rick. Oh, good question. I'm actually buying these. So, oh, wrong one. I'm buying these. So I'm buying the black colorway. I really like them personally. Only because I like Air Force Ones. I like the silhouette. That being said, Air Force Ones are a bit too plain to me, and I just don't like dressing plain because I feel like my aesthetic is already minimal. So to make it even more boring by just wearing plain Air Force Ones just makes my fits look boring. So I like the CDG cutout kind of aesthetic. But yeah, I'm buying those. Are Prada boots worth it? Hell no. I would not recommend anyone buys Prada boots. No way. If you lived in London, it would be really easy to get, but obviously, like, not everyone lives in London, but just saying, like, if you can come into London or whatever, it's very easy to get them from Dover Street Market, like extremely easy, because they're not going to be hyped. So it's a thing where they're going to sell online, they're going to sell out online, but if you go into store, like in Dover Street Market, those pairs will be sitting for days, like most Nike collabs. So yeah. Video on Tyler, the creator's influence on fashion. I could do that, but it's just like before I make a video on Tyler, I'd rather make a video on like someone with a bit more like influence, like a Charles James or something. Okay, where you are, there's a DSM shop. Yeah, so you should just go to DSM. Like, go to DSM. There are also raffles, at least for London right now. You can like do a raffle where if you win, then they give you a chance to buy it in store. So that's just like increasing your chances. So I know there's that for Dover Street Market London. I'm not sure about like other Dover Street markets. Do you really need a lot of money to start a brand, or is that a myth? It depends on what you're making, your target audience, the profit margins. Oh my God, that's a very, very, very complicated question that I cannot answer in a linear way. But to be very basic and try to answer it in like a one way, yes, you need a lot of money, especially if you don't have an audience, because if you don't have an audience, how are people going to know your brand or see it anywhere if you don't spend money on marketing? And marketing is really expensive. So then you have to do a lot of research into like, if I put in £5,000 into marketing, am I actually going to recoup that money in some way, shape, or form? And there's a lot that goes into it. My view on Balenciaga's latest show, I kind of talked about that in my Paris Fashion Week stream, but I liked it, but it was kind of too similar to the last show, is what I will say. But I did like it though. Oh yeah, let me do some marketing on my screen because it's clear that my marketing is absolutely horrific. Give me a sec. Let me do something. Someone said, I fucking love Demna at Balenciaga. Yeah, all of us do. We all love Demna. There's some designers that like, it's crazy how they're so good at what they do across the board. Because a lot of fashion people have like loads of hot takes. But there's some designers that like across the board, everyone just recognizes together that, yeah, this designer is amazing. This designer is iconic. I find that really, really fascinating. Like people like McQueen and all those type of people. Did I always have artistic friends? Yes and no. So when I was younger, I was like a basketball player. And I used to do like track. I used to run track. So most of my friends were just guys who, and still most of my friends actually, to be fair, a lot of my friends now are like professional basketball players, semi-pro basketball players, or like some of them are like semi-pro athletes. Like most of my friends are like from sports because I spent most of my time training. So you end up becoming friends with people that you train with, you sweat with, you hustle with, you grind with. And I kind of just had pockets of artistic friends. So when I first started getting into fashion, everyone thought I was weird because most of my friends are just like basketball players who like don't really care about fashion like that. So they're just like, yo, what's all this weird stuff you're talking about? And like, I saw you made a new YouTube channel. This I don't really understand what you're saying, but it seems interesting type of thing. So no, I'm not one of those kids that has like loads of like fashion friends. I heard you talk a number of times about sample sales in Antwerp. I can't find anything about it online. Could you possibly help me? Well, the reason why you can't find anything about it online is because obviously no one knows when the next one is going to happen. But when it happens, I will talk about it when the next Antwerp sample sale happens. Because they're really, really good. Like you can get brands like Andy, Hyder, like all the Belgian like based brands or Belgian designers. You can get them for like really, really low prices. You said, "Where's the basketball at?" I'll put a video of me playing basketball on the screen, so you guys can see me play basketball. Give me a sec. Let me get some of my hoop videos up. This is actually the most chill stream I've ever had in my life, probably. Will there be another Vetements like troll fashion? Yes, there are many brands that have like kind of done the ironic thing over the years. There's bound to be like another Vetements for sure. Yeah, I do have a hoop channel, but I don't post there too much though. That's the thing. So I need to post on that channel more. I'm dedicated to the fashion archive that I've barely posted to my basketball channel. Favorite version of J's? To play basketball, Jordan 11s. To just wear for like aesthetic reasons, probably ones. What? Whoever pays for the irony thing was zero quality. That's hilarious. What do you think are the biggest differences between small brands and household names? Oh, okay. Biggest differences is resources, for example. So I don't like that journalists they judge small brands on the same level that they judge big brands, because like a Givenchy has the greatest artisans, like a whole atelier, whereas small brands they could literally be like working out of like a garage, like someone's garage and stuff. So I don't like how we judge fashion in a linear way. I just don't like that. It just, to me, it doesn't make much sense. But yeah, that's the major difference. Just resources, really. Like, as a young designer or a smaller brand, you have to compromise, especially for financial reasons. As a bigger brand, you can just do whatever you want because you have the means to do whatever you want. So it's just one of those things. Opinion on Kang Hyuk. I won't tell you my opinions on Kang Hyuk, only because I'm making a video on Kang Hyuk soon. So, coming soon to your screens. Coming soon to your screens. I'll show you guys. This is my 1v1. Like, we played King of the Court. 1v1 King of the Court. So yes, guys, I don't only just I'm not just only into fashion. I play sports. Like, I play football, I do track, I used to run track, I play basketball, I do MMA, and I want to get into I want to start getting jiu-jitsu classes. I was going to start jiu-jitsu, but then the quarantine happened, so obviously I'm not trying to hold anyone. But after the whole quarantine thing fixes itself, then yeah. Kang Hyuk is like a Korean brand. It's a really cool Korean brand. Dun, dun, dun. To be fair, in this game, I got cooked. I'm not going to lie. I won the first game, if I can remember correctly, but the second game, when we played King of the Court, I got cooked. Because this guy here, this Chinese guy, Howell, he's my friend. He played point guard for a really good team. So he can shoot. I can't really shoot like that. So if you let this guy heat up, oh my God, it's a long day. It's a long ass day. Looking forward to the vid. Always keen for new brands. Yep. I always have to balance it with established brands and new brands. Someone's asking me about post-archive faction. I don't know too much about post-archive faction, so I need to know more about PAF. The only Korean brands I'm well versed on are brands like Kang Hyuk, Blind Nurse, Junjae, Ada Era, those type of brands I've read up on and stuff. But yeah, PAF I don't know what the references are. I haven't read into it. But aesthetically though, if we're just talking aesthetically, yeah, PAF is amazing. I need to try some stuff on to see if they have my size, because I would want to get those PAF pants. They've got some pants that I really like. Can I make a video instead of find out how my Kusuke? I can. It's all of the only issue is okay, so I have a list on my laptop of around how many is it? It's around say 150, maybe 200 video ideas. Actually, it's more than that. Maybe 250 video ideas that I want to make. So I have so many videos planned where people ask me oh, can you make a video on this designer? And I'd love to, but unfortunately, I'm only one person. And because I have to do so much research for my videos, it just takes a long time. But hopefully, I'll get round to it. A good brand that I've wanted to make a video for almost a year at this point is called Anrilige. It's this Japanese brand made by this designer called Kuniko Kurihaga, I think that's how you say his name. But his brand is insane, and he really pushes the boundaries in terms of incorporating technology into his work. But it's just one of those things where I can make it when I make it, because it's going to take so much research and so much time. I'm only one person, so it's really hard. Kunihiko Murano. Is that how you say his name? Guys, can watch my scrimmage highlights. This is like a basketball fashion stream. Hilarious. Wait, what is so expensive? Oh, Post Archive Faction. Yeah, it is really expensive. I won't lie. Wait, Annualage have a book coming out from Rizzoli? No way, really? Yo, that's amazing. I'm definitely gonna buy that book. Oh my god, I love Annualage. Why do designers? Wait, what do you say? Why do designers with their own brands become creative directors for other brands? Many different reasons. So I can run through some reasons why a designer would want to work for a bigger house. So let's say someone like Alexander McQueen, for example, he was a true artist. So the thing about Alexander McQueen was sometimes he made a loss on his collections for the sake of creating memorable moments and crazy runway shows and stuff. So he took the job at Givenchy actually to fund what he was doing with his namesake brand. So that's one reason why a designer might want to design for a higher brand. Also, it's the notoriety that designing for a big brand, what comes with that. So a good example is like, say I'm a designer and I have my own independent label. Now, if I become creative director of Balenciaga for 6 years, when I go back to my own label, I'm gonna have that thing where it's like I was the former creative director of Balenciaga. So that it gives you more like leeway in the industry. It gives you more what's the word I'm looking for? It gives you more, not power. Power is not the right word, but it just puts your branding in a better position long term if you've worked with like names that people, like most people, know. Because yeah, legitimacy, that's like the type of word I'm looking for. Yeah. So it makes you just more legit in general. Yeah, leverage, good word. It gives you more leverage to like charge high prices because now you're associated with the likes of Balenciaga because you were the creative director. So it puts you in the same talking point as brands like that. So actually, long term, it's even better for your own brand and it's better for you financially. And then also, you can pivot the money that you're earning from brands like that and then use it to, get more money into your own brand and invest more into your own brand with money that you're getting being a creative director for another brand. So there's many different like positive reasons as to why you would do it, to be fair. Yeah, Eric said reach as well. It does give you more reach. And it's good for marketing. Because say no one knows what your brand is, well, I can assure you, when you become creative director of a brand like Balenciaga or Gucci or whatever, people will start to find out about your own namesake label, even if they never heard of it before. Because the Gucci customer is not necessarily like the customer of some like random brand. So you also like essentially you're introduced to like a new market almost, especially now in the social media age where like people actually know who the creative directors are. Like I feel like before social media, like it was kind of more a mysterious thing. If you're like a serious fashion person, then you would know, but it wasn't everyone that knew who was behind all these brands. But now because of social media and stuff, like people actually check that stuff. So yeah, many different reasons. It's just the same way, like say like I don't know, because obviously I'm launching my own magazine. Say I was like editor-in-chief of like Harper's Bazaar or Elle or something crazy like that. It just gives me more buying power. The contacts I meet working at Elle, I can leverage using my own magazine. And these are contacts I wouldn't have gotten if I didn't become the editor-in-chief of a major magazine type of thing. So there's so many like reasons why you would, like so many. What movie do I love for costume design? Oh my god, there's so many. The Matrix. I like The Matrix. I like The Matrix because of who designed a lot of the pieces, like Oswald Boateng, and we're gonna get to it when I make an Oswald Boateng video. He's done costume design for movies like Men in Black. He's done costume design for The Matrix. He's done costume design for what other movies? Oh, there's another Will Smith movie that he did costume design for that was really cool. I like Peaky Blinders, not so much a movie, more like a TV series. I love the costume design in that. Yeah, many different things. I have to think more about it though. What do I think about Hood by Air? It's amazing. That's what I think about Hood by Air. It's fantastic. Without going in too much detail, because it's going to be another like 30-minute rant, and I'm going to lose track of all the comments. I'll show you guys my dunk mix. Not that these dunks are any good, but yeah, whatever. I could definitely dunk a lot better than that now. I just don't film when I play basketball, unfortunately. The only time I film is when I'm doing fashion vlogs. Like, someone said, what do I think about Cohen Frost interviews? I quite like them, actually. I love them. I also love that he has a good relationship with like the people he interviews. It's quite interesting. I do like that. He said, show us some MMA. Unfortunately, I don't like film my MMA because the gym I used to train at before quarantine, they have a no film policy because there are some, like, I go to like a well-respected gym. So there's everyone from like beginners like me to like people who like are actually like, they fight Bellator and stuff. So I'm not allowed to film because then I'm like, people might be able to see the strategy of like important fighters in the background. But hopefully one day I'll be able to sneak in a few like shots of me sparring or whatever. That would be pretty cool. He said those niggas I was playing 80. We need to see some real comp. The video before, those guys are real comp. Like Hal was a legit PG. Like he played in the CBA. He's actually a CBA PG. Like he played for the Shanghai Sharks, I think. Yeah. So that's definitely real comp. Let me show you guys a video from the archive. This basketball video is so funny, right? Because my friend told me that he could like beat me one-on-one, which is quite funny because yeah. But this video is old. This video is like from like how old is this? Like A levels. My god, that was ages ago. Maybe like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. That's how old this video is. Like just look at the resolution of this video. You can tell it's old as hell. Check me out wearing the Concords, Jordan 11s. I can't believe I sold those. I'm so stupid. I should have like held on to those. I probably sold them to buy some like this. This was when I started getting into fashion. So I probably sold those Jordans and used it to buy like a Y3 piece or something like that. I'm very sure that's what I did. He said annual are contenders for the West website. That's hilarious. You missed my Couch live stream. Those are ages ago, man. The couch live streams. Oh my god. Those are iconic live streams. Am I planning on buying some new clothes? Not at the moment, because I've spent so much money on paying people that work on my magazine and paying for stuff to do my magazine. So right now, I don't really have that much money. So no, I won't be buying any new clothes anytime soon, to be honest. Like, nah. I'll just live life. I don't have to buy clothes like all the time, I guess. The legal process for starting a magazine. That's a good question. So first thing you have to do is you have to, well, register your magazine as a business for starters. That's the first thing. Then the next thing you do is you trademark your magazine. So that's a 3-month process, at least in the UK. That takes like 3 months. Because you have to find out that, because like the fashion archive is actually a common like phrase. So like it was very likely that someone already owned the rights to like the fashion archive, but no one did. So I paid £500, but it was like a 3-month process, because how the process works is like you apply to get a trademark, and then the courts have to like approve it, and there's a period where someone can like contest whether that you are allowed to own that trademark or not, but no one contested it, and you have like 2 months. They have 2 months to contest it. So that was basically how it happened. So register as a business, register a trademark. Then you're gonna have to there's some other trademarks you have to register to do with your business. So you have to specify what your magazine encapsulates. So for example, my magazine includes digital sourcing, which is a totally different trademark to like, so I got so many different trademarks. I got like probably like 20 different trademarks, which made it really expensive, because I had to get trademark for the fashion archive in a digital means, because I'm releasing my magazine in a PDF version. I had to release a trademark for my print magazine. I had to get a trademark for my tote bags. I had to get a trademark for other stuff that I might do in the future. So like clothing and stuff. So I like premeditated those trademarks. And yeah, it just gets really complicated and expensive. So yeah. But it's all cool now. At least I know if anyone tries to use the fashion archive, I'm just going to sue them and get loads of money. Because like, I didn't pay all that money on trademarking for nothing. Like, hell no. Would I ever do submissions for a later issue? I definitely could. I have a no free work policy though. So like, I don't let anyone that works on my magazine like work on it for free. Like I got one of my my course mates at CSM to help me write an article, and I paid her £150 for one article. Like, I don't like people working for me for free. I just don't like it. So even if I did submissions from like people that follow the channel, it would have to be of a high standard to where I could pay you, basically. But yeah, that would be interesting though, for sure. That'd be really interesting. He said, "All this sounds a bit much, not gonna lie." Yeah, but that's the thing about business. Like, people think business is so easy and it's so simple to do. It's so complicated, honestly. Like, anything business related, really, it can get really, really complicated. Like, people think I mean, you can do a project. Just know that if you don't copyright, I'm just so against being taken advantage of by a massive corporation, which is why I just had to copyright and trademark absolutely everything I do and everything I touch. So if anyone dares to try copy my stuff, it's straight to the court. But to be fair, if you're just doing like a little project, it's fine, but just know that your stuff is liable to be like stolen, and then you're going to be one of those people like reaching out to Diet Prada to try and make an expose post on like, this brand copied my work, yada yada. See, I don't have time for that shit. I'm just going to go straight to the court. So that's why I had to trademark everything. Yes, it was expensive, but I see the Fashion Archive magazine as a long-term business. So first article should be about a group of young black youth that are bringing back cakes and stuff. Yeah, I mean, so for issue 1, it's just whatever. For issue 2, yeah, for issue 2, I have a lot of crazy ideas for like the second issue. So that should be cool. It's all like a money thing. So issue 2, because I have some really cool ideas for it, I just won't make it till I have enough money to like create what I want to create. But yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. And I agree with this guy who said, don't cut costs on legal stuff ever. That's facts. That's facts. He said, you spend so much on legal fees trying to sue a gig company, you run out of money trying before you can. Not really. Sometimes, like, when it comes to copyright, there's just some stuff that's really clear. Fashion is very vague. Like, fashion design is vague, but a magazine is more black and white. So, like, if people copy my magazine idea, or like you calling a magazine the Fashion Archive magazine, it's very black and white. Like, it's not the type of stuff that will be in court for a long time. It's just straight away, like, change the name of your magazine or pay this fee. Like, that's how magazines work. Luckily for me, I'm not a designer. If I was a designer, oh my God, legal stuff is complicated. Like, intellectual property is really complex when it comes to design. Magazines, not so much. Like, with magazines, it's either you own the rights to the image or you don't. It's either you own the rights to the Fashion Archive magazine or you don't. It's very, very, very black and white. Like, very easy to win a case for me now that I own all the rights to that stuff. It's a bit different to like someone using something that kind of looks like a Nike tick, kind of doesn't, kind of like, it's a bit different. So I'm not too worried about like the legal process of things for a magazine. But if I was a designer, totally different story entirely. As a designer, it doesn't matter how much you copyright stuff. If Nike decide they want to copy you, there's probably nothing you can do, like absolutely nothing you can do about that. Who designs my magazine? Well, I haven't reached the graphic design stage yet, but Day is gonna do the graphic design for my magazine. What do you suggest for those who are into high alternative style fashion, but friends disapprove and have a view that's just bad, or your experience around others when you got into fashion? Not gonna lie, when I was younger, I used to care what people thought about like the way I look, the way I dress. But when I got older, I don't know what it was, maybe if it's an age thing or a confidence thing, but I really don't care what people think about the way I dress anymore. I just don't. Like, I genuinely don't. So I'm at the point in my life where like I just wear what I want. If people don't like it, and actually it's worked in my favor, because when I was not that confident and I was trying to wear these avant-garde clothes, my friends are like, man, what you're wearing looks weird. But now I don't know if it's because my friends see me more confident. Well, my basketball friends and those guys who don't understand it, what they say is things like, we don't understand your drip, but it's cool. It's good. Like, we don't get it, but we feel like it's cool. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, that's the way they talk about it now. And I don't really get too many bad reactions compared to like when I was younger and I didn't even have the confidence. So I think part of it is a confidence thing, to be honest. And to be fair, like someone said, are they really your friends if like they make fun of you for what you wear? Like, yeah. Are they really your friends though? What do you say? Let me know if you need design assistance. Send me a DM. Send me a DM on Instagram for sure. He said, man, F them friends. Someone's asking me about Warren Lotus. He deserves it because he basically copied the pigeon dunks, didn't he? So yeah, he deserves it. Like all these designers that think they're designers copying designs one of one, damn near. Like, yeah, he deserves it. Too bad. Like, I see what he was trying to do. Like, he was trying to do the bait thing, but he didn't do enough research into like the legalities of it. So good luck to Warren Lotus because they hit him with a devilish lawsuit. Like, the lawsuit they hit him for was deadly. Like, normally when Nike will just send you a cease and desist. So like Nike sent Rick Owens, for example, a cease and desist for the original Rick Owens dunks, which he now calls Geo Baskets, right? Who else got cease and desist? But all he got was just basically stop producing this footwear. That's what Rick got. What they gave Warren Lotus was cease and desist and damages. That is devilish. So damages means basically all the money he's made from whatever, like the sneaker, all the sales, they want that money too. Like, he's gonna, if they win that lawsuit, if Nike win that lawsuit, which they probably will, like Nike's $1 billion company with the best lawyers in the world. Like, what the hell is Warren Lotus compared to Nike? Yeah, he's gonna be bankrupt, like, for sure. Like, they're gonna run his finances into the ground because you can't tell me that he has all the money in his bank account from all the sneakers he sold. He's probably spent money on different things. So by the time Nike get the damages money back, he's probably going to be in the negative and he's going to have to file for bankruptcy. So yeah, it's unfortunate for him. You don't play with big companies when it comes to like intellectual property. Like, you just don't. Someone's asking me my favorite MMA fighter. Israel Adesanya. Definitely, I love him. Are we talking present or past? Because present, Israel Adesanya. Um, who else do I like? So many to choose from. I like Francis Ngannou. I love him. I like Stipe. Stipe is a really good fighter. Um, I like John Jones, obviously. John Jones is a beast. I'd like to see John Jones fight like Israel Adesanya. Yeah, or he's going to move up to heavyweight. Actually, I would like to see him fight heavyweight. Um, who else do I like? MMA. I'm trying to think of like present because he didn't specify, so I'm just going to assume that it's present designers. Design. I said designers. Sorry, fighters. Um, who else do I like? I liked Sean O'Malley before. I actually no, I'm still a fan of Sean O'Malley. The reason he lost is not because he's not a good fighter. He literally like got injured during the fight. So I'd say Sean O'Malley. Um, who else do I like? I like strikers because strikers make fights interesting. But because I want to learn like jiu-jitsu, which is when the quarantine ends, the first thing I'm going to do is like sign up to start doing jiu-jitsu classes. I'm going to start getting into MMA fighters that have a good ground game because obviously I can learn loads of things while watching those type of fighters. So yeah, is uni of fashion worth it, or you're not missing much apart from contacts? It really depends on what school you go to and what degree you're studying. If you're studying fashion design at CSM, yes, it's worth it, most likely. If you're studying fashion journalism, yes, it's worth it, most likely. Um, it just comes down to like these questions are so like the answers I would have to give you are really long, and I want to like try to keep it as succinct as possible. So it really depends. There's no like one size fits all answer. It depends on your circumstances. He said he was planning on learning jiu-jitsu as well. Yeah. Useful. Jiu-jitsu is more than useful. Oh my god, jiu-jitsu is amazing. I don't know why I didn't learn jiu-jitsu earlier. I I was like I did boxing for like a few years, and then I was like, yeah, boxing like in the real world, like if I was to get into a street fight and they can kick, they're probably gonna fuck me up. So I need to like learn how to use my legs. So then I started doing kickboxing. And then after I started doing MMA, but I just used to get destroyed on the ground. So I was like, yeah, I need to start learning jiu-jitsu. And then quarantine happened. Great. And I was gonna because there's a Gracie gym in London that's like famous. It's kind of expensive, but like a Gracie gym. Oh my god. So I was gonna start going there and really get my ground game up. How hard was it for me to get into CSM? So first thing I will say, let me get on my knees. I'm kind of tired. Sitting down. First thing I will say, let me just adjust this. So first thing I will say is I study fashion journalism. CSM is more famous for fashion design than fashion journalism. So that means that it's a lot easier to get in for fashion journalism than it is fashion design. That being said, it's still very hard to get into fashion journalism. So the process was, first of all, you have to meet the entry requirements in terms of grades. Then after the entry requirements, if you get past that stage, like they like your personal statement, you have the entry requirements, you have the right grades. What they'll do is, for my course, at least fashion journalism, they made me write an 800-word essay on contemporary fashion. Then if they like your essay, then you go on to the next stage, which is the interview. And then they just grill you in the interview, try to see how much you know about fashion, test your knowledge of fashion history, blah blah blah. So that's the interview, and then based on the interview, that's when you know if you've like gotten in or not, basically. So that's like the process. For fashion journalism, at least. Fashion design, I couldn't tell you. I have a lot of friends that do fashion design at CSM though, so maybe I could bring some of them on the channel at some point. Yeah. Wait, you didn't know there was a Gracie gym? Yeah, there's a Gracie gym in London. A really famous one too. Really famous one. Should start off on my local karate place first. I see the thing about stuff like that, like combat sports and all those type of things. I just like to be thrown into the deep end from the get-go. I just prefer it that way. So too many small IG brands are making their own Air Forces and Jordan 1's custom swooshes. Yeah, that thing is starting to get annoying, I won't lie. And I mean that in the most non-elitist way possible, but like, let's see something else. Like, show us something else. Hey, did I put stickers in that order? No, I didn't. Let me add stickers. Thoughts on online schooling during the pandemic? I don't like it only because like I'm paying so much money to basically have live streams. But like it's cool. It's a reflection of the times we're in at the end of the day. Like it's not like there's any alternative. I think I just need to personally like get used to it. I guess it's like the new normal. I guess I just realized you can't see me. Yeah, it's like the new normal. I guess so. Thoughts on Val Christopher? Once again, I know who he is. I've seen some of his work. I've seen his collab with Nike. That was cool. But I don't know too much about Val Christopher's work more than like a surface level. So I don't really have too many thoughts other than what I've seen, like the denim stuff he makes, like the custom denim, the Nike collab he did, was all that stuff is pretty cool. And he has a very like distinct aesthetic, which I like. Like I like it when someone has a very recognizable aesthetic in a good way. So yeah, I like him. I feel like I say his name wrong. His name's probably like Val Christopher, and I say Vol Christopher. My bad. The best way to contact me, probably email, because my Instagram is in a limbo. Because when I had a smaller Instagram page, it's nothing wrong with that. I used to like basically reply to everyone, which was possible when I had a small Instagram page. But then what happens is now that my Instagram page, and it's not even that large, by the way, it's just bigger than it was before. It's really hard to manage my DMs because it's all over the place. And like, there are people that are actually really important people, but I miss their DMs because their DMs get lost in the sea of DMs. So I always tell people that basically, if you want to reach me, just send me an email. Like, my emails are way less muddy. He said, not gonna lie, Giorgio Armani is kind of for my whole life. I've only seen Armani trackies. I thought that was it. No. No. Oh my god, like, okay, let me show you some clips from the documentary I was watching earlier today. Hold on, let me adjust this quickly. like I won't play the. Should I play the audio? Okay, I'll play the audio, just so you can get a taste of like Armani. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can find this. And I am going to make a video on Armani, by the way. And I was watching this other documentary that was about like fabrics, and they were explaining how like the brilliance of like Issey Miyake and like his fabrics and stuff, and that stuff was just amazing. Basically, this stuff is copyrighted, so I guess I'm not going to earn any money from the stream, but who cares? I'm about the people. I'm for the people. So I'll play this documentary out loud, and you guys can watch it. Just give me a sec. I'm gonna mute myself, and you guys can just watch this snippet, and then I'll unmute myself. Give me a sec.
Who was even seen. He is the richest designer in the world, and he foresaw early on his greatest asset.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay, so I'm not going to say anything. You guys just listen to like the clip.
My name is protecting around the world for 110 countries.
But a name is like any other product. You have to make it before you can sell it.
Il mio nome è mio, privato, mi ha fatto mia madre e mio padre.
Private, maybe, but Giorgio Armani is now the name on a $1.5 billion turnover fashion empire. Emperor Armani, the man who trained to be a doctor but couldn't stand the sight of blood and didn't even want to be a designer.
Fosse lo scrittore, fosse il regista, fosse delle cose più così, ma la moda non mi affascinava più di tanto. Il diventare un nome internazionale, diventare un nome come i famosi nomi che sono in giro, era quasi una cosa che non era al di là delle mie aspettative, non pensavo di poter, neanche volevo. Poi tutte le cose arrivano per un destino, non si sa perché.
Destiny or design? Something must explain the marketing phenomenon of the 80s. How did these typical Armani statements, understated, almost anodyne in 101 shades of beige, come to encapsulate the aspirations of a decade? Armani, like Cardin in the 60s, identified the consumer mood of his age: elitist, ambitious, discriminating. With no formal fashion training, Armani former buyer, now master of minimalism, tailored a comprehensive clothing identity to his own marketing insights. Insight number one, the jacket. Armani softened men's jackets and hardened women's. In his hands, the jacket became the central fashion motif of the yuppie era. For women, a unisexual uniform of success without the frilly bits. Armani, the philosopher.
La giacca nasconde, la giacca può far pensare, un po' più misteriosa la giacca. È una specie di protezione, una specie di scudo, di armatura moderna che aiuta a vivere. Ed è in particolare la giacca. Il vestito scopre troppo, il vestito è molto... Tu vedi una donna con un vestito, sai come fa, sai che cos'ha. La giacca nasconde, la giacca può far pensare, è un po' più misteriosa la giacca. E poi dà delle forme che magari la donna non ha, l'uomo non ha, quindi l'aiuta anche a migliorare.
In a designer label-obsessed age, Armani will go down in history as the man who power-dressed the whole new post-war baby boom generation, which had entered the workplace. But however minimalist the Armani look may be, the price isn't. £1,000 for a suit, £8,000 for...
I hope you guys can still hear it, by the way.
So how many people can actually afford to sport the Armani label stitched elegantly in white on black on the Giorgio Armani Via Borgo Nuovo label? And so how big can your business possibly be? Being a rich designer doesn't mean designing for a few rich clients. Hence insight number two.
La gente è molto mescolata adesso, il ricco, il povero, alla fine le vacanze sono vacanze per tutti, si può tutti andare a Mustica a fare vacanze. Una volta erano soltanto i ricchi signori, adesso anche la mia piccola segretaria, fa la settimanale al fine. Quindi il mondo è cambiato moltissimo e questo bisogna tenerne conto.
And the world is full of potential customers. Being a very rich designer means shifting millions of units in a mass market. For Armani, the name of the game is diffusion. Add a cheaper line to your mainstream collection. Same classy name, much bigger market. Armani, the master of diffusion, took the black label from the £1,000 garment, now with all its aspirational associations, and in a typically minimalist stroke, changed it subtly and attached it to a £500 jacket. So now more people could buy into the essential Armani lifestyle at half the price. Still too much? For a tenth of the price, you can still have the privilege of bearing that priceless Armani label on your clothes. Insight number 3, conquer the world. Having diffused the look across social and economic barriers, break the geographical barrier, make the Armani label an international language of designer understatement, understood by the upwardly mobile shopping in one of hundreds of coolly lit, architecturally disciplined boutiques from Milan to Tokyo, from London to Honolulu. Of course, the worldwide clientele still has to be pretty solvent to sport the Armani emblem, even on the cheapest Armani jacket. Unless some manufacturer of mass-market goods is willing to pay a fee to stamp Armani's name on their quite ordinary products, thus transforming them into talismans of good taste. It's a process called licensing, and when it works, it's a license to print money. Polo by Ralph Lauren from Calvin Klein.
John and Karen, New York. I think it's a perfect marriage. The designers invest in nothing. This is the big benefit for them. They don't have to buy factories. They don't have to buy production plant. They don't.
Can you guys still hear it, by the way? I don't know if people are actually still watching it.
That's done with using their name because they get the rub.
I just thought this documentary is like good insight to answer that question about Armani and like diffusion lines and stuff.
That would otherwise require serious money to buy your way into. And for the manufacturer, they get the kudos of the designer's name and all the momentum and all the publicity that it's attracted. So in a way, they're defraying their marketing costs. It's a very cheap, easy route for them to what can be a very profitable market.
Take the sunglasses market. It's worth a shade over $1 billion annually. Everyone wants a look.
When Bausch and Lomb called for us to do eyewear, they said, of course I do eyewear. I've had eyewear in my ads for the past 4 years since we've started. Rosemary's always been behind a pair of glasses.
Dark glasses are like being behind a waterfall, daring and safe at the same time.
And for Donna Karan, a safe bet at no financial risk, licensing her name at a royalty of around 7% on shades at $200 per unit. Donna Karan is no sunglasses specialist. Her success has come by designing clothes for the new affluent executive woman like herself, clothes to suit her frenetic, stressed-out urban existence.
God, what kills me, charges me.
Through her advertising alter ego, Rosemary McGrother, she communicates directly with a clearly identified target market.
Are successful women different from other women?
Well, Donna Karan ought to know turnover has reached $240 million in a brief 6 years, and her name has soared into the designer big leagues.
Oh, I was opening up people's mail. I used to walk around this entire company opening up everything because I said, how nice, look at all this mail I'm getting, because my name was on everything. Because I didn't realize that this became a company. So it is very, very strange. Everything that bears my name, I would go to.
And plenty of things now do bear her name. Donna Karan is a native New Yorker, in New York, of New York. With her diffusion line DKNY, she even commandeered her own city into her logo and licensed that.
DKNY clothing, DKNY jeans, DKNY accessories, bags, belts, shoes. Oh, yes, thank you. I forgot, I needed glasses. So we did eyewear.
Anyway, yeah. I just wanted you guys to see the Armani part. But yeah, someone, wait, hold on, let me adjust this again. Someone had a good question on, is it easy to become a fashion designer? Because no. So basically, it's all about dynamics. So a good example is Ray Kawakubo is not formally trained in like fashion design, but Ray Kawakubo is a master of pattern making. Like if you work for Com, like so people like Kanan Namiya, Chitose Abe, who else? Junichi Abe, Junior Watanabe, all these guys were taught how to make patterns by Ray. And the reason for that is because it's not like back then, education in fashion was less formal and more like hands-on learning, right? So some of the best designers of all time didn't really study fashion at a school because they had opportunities to where they could learn a trade and work under someone and basically improve their craft. Whereas now you don't really have opportunities like that. It's not the same. Like the dynamics of fashion are not the same. Like I can't just wake up one day and call Craig Green and be like, Craig Green, can I just like work under you and learn how to make patterns and learn how to sew? Whereas those type of opportunities were available. Like I remember reading this book about Alexander McQueen and how he became such a good tailor, because when he was like younger, Savile Row would just be like, okay, we're looking for interns. There aren't enough interns and we're going to pay you to just come to Savile Row and work. That's unheard of now. Like no one has those type of crazy opportunities to like learn a craft in such a high performance like environment like it was before. And that's why it's more necessary, to go to fashion school now than it was maybe like 20, 30, 40 years ago. So yeah. Said, I believe the EU is considering banning unpaid internships. Yeah, for sure. I really hope that they ban unpaid internships. They're so like unethical. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I hope they get rid of those. He said, I'm gonna shoot Samuel Ross an email on Friday. I should be working on him by Monday. Another reason for it actually, because sometimes I feel like I don't explain these points deep enough and people want me to go deeper on these things. So the main reason for it is how fashion is seen. So back then there wasn't social media and all these things. So fashion isn't like, it's not as glamorous as it is now where all the influencers are into fashion. Everyone wants to be a fashion influencer on Instagram. It wasn't like that. So these like Savile Row tailors were looking for interns back then. They couldn't find enough people that wanted to work in the studios, which is why they were willing. Even this was at a time when there was not really any like legislation against like unpaid internships and stuff. And they were willing to pay interns. Just come here and learn. We just need hands on deck. That was the circumstance that it was. But now that everyone's into fashion, if you apply to an internship in Savile Row, they want a ready-made CSM graduate because of the type of people that apply there. It's just a different dynamic. Whereas when I was like younger, it was a thing where they were actively looking for interns. So it's just a different time. So Armani not training formally in fashion, considering the time that he learned fashion, doesn't mean much because he could have just shadowed like a well-respected like tailor. So it's just the dynamics of the industry that are really different right now. No, you can have a brand without education. Of course you can. I'm just saying that he was more talking about like design skill, like talking about mastering the craft. So I was trying to explain to him that you don't need to go to school to master a craft. Like Alexander McQueen was a master of patterns before he stepped foot in Central St. Martin's. Like I know Central St. Martin's like to claim Alexander McQueen as like, look at the type of guys we produce, but CSM did not produce Alexander McQueen. Like anyone that's read any sort of McQueen book knows that. Like his whole career, and not career, but his whole skill set was made outside of CSM. Like it was made in Savile Row, and it was made in streetwear brands that he worked for, and it was made when he went to Italy, not in CSM that he spent 1 year. Like In fact, if you read like books about McQueen, actually they say that McQueen, when he went to CSM, he was so skilled that they were confused, that they thought he was applying as like a member of staff to teach pattern making. They didn't actually know that he was there to be a student, like he wanted to. And the reason why McQueen was a student at CSM, I like totally empathize with the same reasoning. So this might be a super stupid question. There's no question is ever stupid, because people ask questions in pursuit of gaining knowledge. So no question is stupid. But anyway, just getting into fashion and have been loving your channel. What do you think is the purpose of fashion personally? What's the purpose as an industry? Oh, that's deep. That's deep. So fashion is deep. I mean, in terms of like, if we just talk about clothing, clothing has many different functions, from things like more direct functions, like how you dress to work, how you dress to school, how you dress in a business setting, how you dress in a casual setting. The way you dress says a lot about someone. Ways of dressing, basically clothing can improve your life in general, because sometimes clothing that you wear can improve your mental state of mind and improve your being and improve your confidence, and in turn leads to you studying better, exercising better because you feel better about yourself. There's a whole financial side to it that I can go into. There's the artistic expression type. There's so many that it's so deep, but like fashion serves many purposes, with the most mundane purpose being that clothes are for wearing, and at the end of the day you need to cover your body. At the end of the day, especially like cold weather, you need to actually be warm. Did it feel better or worse applying to uni as a mature student? Okay, so this is a really good question, actually. Did it feel better or worse applying to uni as a mature student? Better. Because I know what to expect. I've already done a degree. I know how university works. I know what a big workload looks like. So yeah, it's just, I just feel like I'm in a better position to do well at uni because I know what to expect. Like, there's so many mistakes I made during my first degree that I won't make during my second degree. So I can give you some of these mistakes, for example. So first mistake I made when I studied chemical engineering was I took my tutors and lecturers for granted. When I studied engineering, I don't think I had any sort of relationship with any of my lecturers, like none. So I didn't have a relationship with my lecturers. I didn't really feel comfortable talking to my lecturers because I didn't build that relationship. So when I was ever in trouble, I just kind of tried to handle it myself instead of going to the lecturer. Yeah, it's also good to have a relationship with lecturers because ultimately lecturers, they've been working, they've taught all types of people and they have contacts. So if you build a relationship with a lecturer, potentially one day someone might come to that lecturer and talk about how they're looking for a journalist, and because you have a relationship with this lecturer, the lecturer's going to be like, actually, you know what, there's someone who I teach who I think is a good fit for your company or whatever. And stuff like that does happen. So I feel like I took lecturers for granted. I didn't build as many relationships as I could have. Going to CSM now, I'm not going to make that same mistake. I'm going to have a very close relationship with all of my lecturers. I'm going to go to their office all the time. I'm going to go to their office and always ask them questions. So that's one mistake I made. Second mistake I made is I didn't use the school facilities to like the maximum potential. Third mistake I made was like, I felt like I was good at managing my time, but I could have done better. And over time, there's ways I've learned to like manage my time efficiently. So yeah, many lessons that as a more mature student at CSM now, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier, for sure. Someone said, how old am I? I'm 22, by the way. So you're actually really accurate. I'm 22. I'm 22. How do you advise building a wardrobe for someone with an addictive personality and that's gone to the pit of more and more when nothing is ever enough? You kind of, anytime you buy a piece, you just have to think, does this go with things in my wardrobe? And if the answer is yes, then that's more of a reason to buy it than if the answer is no. Someone said, I believe you said you were Nigerian in your last vid. How does that influence you artistically? I think, because I'm not a designer at the end of the day, I think that's more of a designer-esque type of question. But what I will say is, as an aspiring journalist, I feel like being Nigerian, and I also lived in Nigeria actually for 5 years, so I'm very much in touch with like my African side of my heritage. Being Nigerian, I feel like it just makes me not want to do what other journalists do. And what other journalists do is they focus on Europe. And Europe is cool, but like Europe is not the only place that fashion exists. So we're going big brain here, but okay, so basically I was reading this academic paper yesterday. I don't want to get too academic, but basically this academic paper was talking about like African art and African fashion and the relevance of it in terms of like greatness. So when we think of great designers, we say names like Charles James, Coco Chanel, Karl Lagerfeld, those type of guys. We never hear an African name. And basically in this academic paper, what they were critiquing was that the fact that essentially the only reason why we see, Madeleine Vianney as great, aside from obviously her being an amazingly skilled designer, is just press. It's just the fact that so many books were written about her. So many people said she was great. So many people at the time made books. They've written books about her. She had good press. So African designers, there are probably some African designers somewhere in the world that are just as skilled, just as artistically viable as the likes of a Madeleine Vianney. But the problem is because they don't live in Europe where there's like the type of media infrastructure, they don't get the same type of press. Books aren't written about them. There aren't whole documentaries written about them. So I'm very careful in saying, and this goes back to why the whole thing of like there being one greatest designer of all time, I'm not too sure about that, because this academic paper was basically critiquing to what level are these designers good versus to what level are they just marketed really perfectly, and to what level is there a balance between the two. And I feel like my African heritage ties into that because I'm really not overly interested in like European fashion. Like I get it, I like it, but I'm not one of those that is just like, Margiela is the be all and end all, because Margiela, just as good as a designer he is, he just also had a really good press. So I really want to find what are some really amazing African designers doing, or Turkish designers, or Mexican designers, or Indian designers doing that is not covered in the press, but they're really, really, really highly skilled and highly intellectual designers. So I feel like my African heritage ties into me having a very, and not just African heritage, because obviously my whole life I've lived in London and Nigeria, so I kind of have this like mix of like European and African and an African upbringing, to the point where I can see the beauty in like many different cultures and many different things. So I feel like a lot of overly Eurocentric people can't. So I'd say that's like where my African heritage kind of plays in. That's what I will say. Someone said, is it possible to get jobs in luxury fashion with only sewing and pattern making skills, but no design skill, like doing the work for the designer? Oh yeah, 100%. Fashion brands hire people like machinists, seamstresses, who, like, a machinist's job is literally just to use like the sewing machine and make stuff, or like seamstresses, or many different, there's very individual skilled work in the fashion industry. So most definitely, if you're a good pattern maker, especially pattern making, because there are more machinists than like pattern makers. It's really hard to find someone who's good at making patterns. So if you have that sort of skill, really valuable in fashion, really valuable. I think the most valuable skill in fashion is being a pattern maker, I think. So yeah. Do you think it's easier to get into fashion industry because we have more opportunities nowadays? Or do you think exactly because we all have access to more opportunities, it is harder? I think net, I think it's easier. But what I would say is harder is, like, with the internet, it's one of those things where you have to know where to look. So like, internet is a blessing and a curse, in where there's a lot of wrong information, there's a lot of unreliable information, but there's also a lot of good information, and there's a lot of reliable information. So if you know the right ways, if you know the right places, to look, then it becomes a lot easier. But the problem is figuring out what are the right places to look. Like, if you want to learn about fashion design, where do you go online to look for that? If you want to learn about the history of a designer, where can I find credible information? So it's kind of like a blessing and a curse in that way. But I'd say net, it's like easier, for sure. It's easier. Like, what I do now, if this was the 90s, there's no way I could do what I do now. Like, absolutely no way. Like, not possible. For me to just like build my own platform and like kind of, have my own voice in fashion off my own back, making YouTube videos, completely impossible. A time like the 90s, you needed like a big media company to be a fashion presenter or something like that. There was no infrastructure for someone to do something on their own. So yeah, I think it's easier for sure. It's not, when I say easier, it doesn't mean it's like easy, because at the end of the day, not many people can do like what I do. Like, I have been making videos consistently every single week for like almost 3 years in a row now. There's not many people that can do that. So yeah, it just depends. But I don't see what I do as like work. I see it as fun. So yeah. If you want to know what, someone's asking me what I think about Sanchez Kane. I've made a video on Sanchez Kane, so go watch the video. This is really cool because I feel like there's a lot of people that are new to my channel, so they don't know I've made all these videos, so I can just like redirect people to my old videos. But yeah, I've made a video on it's called "Who is Barbara Sanchez Kane?" So yeah. What did Frankie said? I think it's easier to get into the industry nowadays, but being successful is harder due to the growing importance of popularity and validity online. Interesting. Was he on the new CDG Nike collab? How much power do creative directors have, for example? And will Gucci say to creative directors we have a strict theme for you to stick to? Creative directors don't have loads of power. What the people that have most of the power is, normally, just going off my experience working in big brands, is the sales teams, like the financial teams. They have the last say. So what happens is the creative director normally starts the discussion, has the creative ideas, and they come up with like how they want to make the collection, the plan of the collection. And then the sales team come with their stupid numbers, and they're like, well, according to our statistics, that doesn't work, because anytime you design something with purple color, it doesn't sell as well as when you make pieces that are green color. So maybe if we could change that to green, I know it doesn't fit in with the aesthetic, but change that to green, change that. So the sales team have a last say, but the creative directors also do have a very, very large say too. It's like almost like 50-50 to be fair. But even creative directors, like, let me just talk about this quickly. The dynamics of a fashion house, I don't like that, because we're talking about Gucci specifically. Alessandro Michele is an amazing designer, by the way. I've made a video praising him, essentially. But let's not act like Alessandro Michele just wakes up from his bed, has an idea, and makes shit. That's not how it works. He has a whole research team that does research for him. He'll just give them an idea, and they actually do the research, not Alessandro Michele. He has a whole team of seamstresses, and he's not hand sewing things. So we have to give credit to a whole team rather than just creative directors, which is what like people do. I think that was a really good question I was trying to answer. Okay, yeah, it was Frankie. So to reply to what Frankie Ortiz said, it's funny because I never thought my channel was going to be big. It's not big now anyway, but like, to me at least, 40,000 subscribers to me is huge. Like, I never would have guessed my channel would grow that big. One of the reasons being is that I don't think I'm a personality type. Like, I feel like on YouTube is a type of platform that's all about personality. And I felt like I'm just kind of like a boring person that just always talks about like the informational side of things. And it's kind of boring for YouTube as a platform where people are just used to like people with these amplified personalities. Like, yo, what's up, guys? Yo. So I'm just not like that. I can never be like that. It's just not my personality. So I thought people would find me boring. And also I thought that because fashion is elitist, there might be snippets of racism tucked in there. So a lot of people wouldn't take to me because I'm black. And you never see black people talk about fashion. So it's just a bit weird for people. But for some reason, none of that was a limiting factor. So that has made me kind of believe that I think maybe anyone, if they work hard enough, could probably build their platform on social media, I feel like. But yeah. He said, I watch you exactly because you aren't trying to have a personality and actually have good insights. That's quite interesting because me starting my YouTube channel, I thought it was all about personality. Like, I expected my YouTube comments to be like, I like your video, but like, you don't show any emotion. Like, there's no emotion when you speak, type of thing. Once you say, why isn't there a bigger fake community in fashion? Like, why don't failed designers just make quality fakes of the big brands if their own doesn't pop? Because of legal reasons, I would guess. Like, you don't want to get into legal trouble with big companies. It's just never a good look, trust me. You know, guys, this whole time I've been packing these boxes really rough. And I only just figured out how to like fold it in where you don't need any tape and you can fold it perfectly. Wow. So to the guys who get the packages that I packed later on, your packaging will be a lot neater. Let's see. Do you find some things in fashion difficult because you're black, or is it a lot better now? It's weird because obviously, like, racism, I've experienced racism, but when it comes to fashion, maybe I'm oblivious, but I don't think maybe I have, but I don't think I have. Or I don't know I have directly experienced racism in relation to like working for a fashion brand. in terms of like it affecting my opportunities. I think part of that is more because yes, I am black, but like I'm so, I wouldn't say aggressive, but I don't take bullshit. So like if there's ever a sign of someone taking me for a mug or trying to like try me or some shit, I always cut that shit in the mud before anything can happen. So I think because of that, like if I'm in a work environment, people kind of know what they get with me. So racism never happens, I guess. So at the moment, I don't think being black has limited my opportunities in fashion, but that is open to change if it does in the future. Let's see. Because I know when it comes to hiring, like sometimes they just look at your name and my name is really African and they're just not going to hire you. But I can't physically quantify that. So I can't really say like that really affects me, can I? Like objectively. So yeah, I wouldn't really say and being black, anything has really limited my opportunities in fashion so far. Because I know like something's bound to happen. I'll be like, yep, guys, I was wrong. How do I find time to do all this stuff? Making vids, magazines, research. I kind of love it. Like when you love what you do, it's no longer work. Like I told you guys, when I woke up today, the first thing I watched was a documentary on Armani, followed by a documentary on fabric design and Issey Miyake. So it's just what I do. It's what I love to do. So I don't see it as work. So I do this stuff all day, every day. But to me, it's fun. So normally if I wake up, because obviously now I have university. So how my schedule is like if I wake up, I'll like maybe watch a fashion documentary or read a few chapters of a book. Then I might have a few lectures. Then after that, I'll probably do YouTube research or edit a YouTube video. Something to do with YouTube. So I'm either editing a video, doing research for a video, or I don't live streaming like now or something. And then at the end of the day, I probably will watch another documentary, read another fashion book, or watch YouTube videos of like fashion content creators I love. So like Loic Prigent or those type of content creators. So people are like, yo, where do you find time to do all these things? But to me, it's like really fun. Like it's just what I do, I guess. So I don't see like I get like outside looking in, it looks like I do so much stuff, but when you're having fun, it's not really loads of stuff, to be fair. It'd be cool for you to make brand videos on brands like CCP. So CCP is one of those ones where I don't think I'm ever going to make a video on CCP, only because I know someone that personally knows CCP, and I will never know more than him. So if I'm ever going to make a video on CCP, I would just bring that friend on to make it, or to just talk about CCP rather than me talk about it. Because it doesn't matter how much research I do, I'm just never going to know more about the brand than my friend. So it's like, why waste, like, I feel like the video will just come out better. But someone like Boris, by Boris, I think you mean like Boris Bijan Saberi. I could definitely make a video on Boris. I'm a big fan of Boris. But once again, I don't like, because, okay, good example. I don't like making videos on brands that people that are trendy to make videos on. Like, I don't want to position myself as someone that makes videos on like CCP, because CCP is the type of brand that's like, if you know kind of thing. So it's like, oh, I know about CCP type of thing. I want to make videos on things that people don't know anything about, so that I think are cool. Like, I feel like less people know about Uma Wang than know about, especially in like my circle of fashion, than like CCP. I'd rather make a video and do research on Uma Wang than Boris. I don't know why. It's just like more people know what Boris is. I'd rather make a video about like Oswald Boateng or like Uma Wang. It's just like me personally. But yeah, I'd definitely love to make a video on Boris though. I'm a big fan of Boris for sure. For sure. Is it important to have a face to your brand, or does it matter if you're a ghost? I think in the social media era, it definitely helps if you have a face to your brand, but I don't think it's like a necessity. I don't think so. Would you prefer a brand where you earn a lot but your social presence is low, like Deploy London, and rely on word of mouth, or have social presence? Definitely more like Deploy London. Definitely more like Deploy London. And for guys that don't know, Deploy London is the first fashion brand I ever worked for. And someone's asked me to do, let me just show you guys, since all, let's see, 89 of you are so kind as to watch this stream. So I'll show you, like, this is bound to change, but like what the order of my next videos are. But it's bound to change, so don't expect this to be for certain. But yeah, let me just show you guys some shit real quick. So, okay, give me a sec. Okay, so this is like my folder. So as you guys can see, this folder here is like number 60 is like how Converse exploits designers. So I just made that. So I've got a Patreon video. Then I've got Oswald Boateng. Now, anytime you see like I've already made stuff for the video, that means I've done research for the video. Like all these images, like I've done screenshots and stuff. So you can tell I'm already like doing research on the video, like pictures, I've got like images. Then let me just take you to video ideas. So this is my video ideas folder. Let me cross check you guys can actually see that. Okay, yeah, you can. So this one here is the Uma Wang video. So as you can see, I have done a hell of a lot of research on Uma Wang, like loads. Like I've got all the images and pictures, and I borrowed some of my friend's Uma Wang pieces to like show certain things that I want to talk about in the collection that she's inspired by. So trust me, there's hell of a lot of videos on the way. Like it's all really just a time thing. When I come around to like making these videos, then I will. He said, why are my vids in music? So because my video part of my laptop is so cloggy, so when I'm ready to like edit a video, I move it to music so I can manage like all the stuff better. You never know, fashion videos are music to my ears, so get some more stickers. If you order my tote bag, you shall get free stickers. If that's any incentive to order my tote bags. Do you think it's possible to get into fashion if you study textile technology? It is 100% possible to get into fashion. It just depends on what type of job you want to have. Like, before I decided I wanted to be a journalist, when I was studying chemical engineering, what I actually wanted to do was be a materials engineer. So like brands like Nike hire people that study engineering, and those are the people that formulate new materials for like their sportswear. They do all the research to come up with like new materials for their footwear and stuff. So if you're a textile designer, if you study textile technology, you're probably going to work on like those type of teams. You could probably work for companies like Gore-Tex, stuff like that. Yeah, you could definitely work in fashion as a textile technology major for sure, like 100%. Why don't I do a video on Takahiro Miyashita? Once again, time. Like, okay, let me just show you guys another thing, because I have a list of like fashion designers that I will potentially make a video on, like fashion designer names. Let me just share this with you real quick, just to show you how long this list is. Like, like I am one person, guys. I'm only one human being. It's really hard to make like a video on all these designers. Okay, so so I have a series on my channel called Who Is, where I talk about designers. I've maybe made about 7, maybe 8 videos in that series, but these are all different designers that I want to make videos on. So John Galliano, Alexander McQueen, Paul Poiret, Mary Quant, Ricardo Tisci, Martina. She's actually Demna Vasalia's right-hand woman. I thought it would be a good thing to make a video on her because everyone just thinks Demna is the mastermind behind absolutely everything, when Martine Rose and Martina really help him in actualizing his vision. There's Madeline Vianney, Albert Elbez, Anne Lowe, Charles James, Lucien Nilong, Diana Vreeland. Diana Vreeland's not a designer, but yeah, just like I want to make a Who Is on her. Diane von Furstenberg, Jill Sander, Pierre Balmain, Valentino, Kenzo Takada, Donna Karen, Helmut Lang. Like, there's so many people I need to make a video on. Nicolas Gasquier, like Elsa Scaparelli, Lanvin, Chanel, Karl Lagerfeld, Thierry Mugler, Christian Lacroix, Heider Ackerman, Adi Slimane, Simone Rocha. So as you guys can tell, like I have my work cut out for me. That is years and years of videos and research. And yeah. So guys, bear with me. I'll try my best. Maybe one day when my channel's big enough, I can actually bring someone who I trust really does their research properly and reads fashion books. And I can like add them. And then the fashion archive won't just be me. It'll be like a group of people constantly doing research and making videos about designers. So then we could like get these designers to videos to the people quicker. But yeah. Yeah. Let me see if my Royal Mail is like working. Someone said, by the way, will you make an upcoming video on brands we haven't heard of in the future, like the stuff I think YouTube scene, or just most people haven't heard of? I kind of do that already though, but I guess I'll continue to do it. Yeah, it would be cool. Someone said, do I know who Lotta Volkova is? Yeah, isn't Lotta Volkova, I swear she was like a stylist for Vetements. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like she was a stylist for Vetements, but I'm not sure if I'm right. So don't quote me on that. I might be terribly wrong, and people be like, "Ayo, you know nothing. You're fake. You're a phony." I don't know if you have advice for this, but I'm picking my A-levels and would love to eventually work in industry. Would you recommend taking textiles or art to get into fashion school? If you want to study design, then yes. If you want to study journalism, then no. Will you do a video about your magazine/making process when you release it? It's kind of hard to make a video on the making. I guess I could like go to the factory, but it's kind of boring to make a video on like what I was thinking when I was writing certain articles. I think that's a bit boring. But yeah. Would I ever do videos interviewing designers? I would love to. That is actually something I would want to do. The only thing is that fashion is a very elitist industry. So I'm back on my knees. So I'm not big enough for designers to give me their time, for designers to afford me their limited time. They're like 40,000 subscribers. We don't have your time. You're not worth my valuable time. So I guess maybe when I build my platform and I reach out to some designers, they'll actually be more willing to do interviews and stuff. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Said, do you understand how small the fashion job market is in America compared to Europe? Well, you're comparing a whole continent to one country. Like, you can't compare a whole damn continent to one country. That's not a fair comparison. If you said the fashion job market in America compared to like Italy and France or something, but like to say the whole of Europe, man, that's a damn continent. He said, I'm definitely worth their time. I mean, you guys probably think I'm worth their time because you watch my channel and you guys are amazing, but they don't watch my channel. They don't know who the hell I am. So as far as they're concerned, they're like, this guy is just an influencer with 40K. Like, that is literally, in influencer marketing terms, not worth their time, according to them. But in actual fact, I'm an aspiring fashion journalist who just uses YouTube as a platform to do journalism, to do video journalism. He said, London has more jobs than New York and San Francisco. Really? New York is huge. I find that really hard to believe. New York is enormous. Like, do you know how tiny London is? Like, do you know how small London is? Like, in comparison, like, London is massive, but like, in comparison to like New York. Like, what? Surely it can't be that bad, like in terms of fashion jobs in New York. Because New York is a fashion hub. Like, you guys have the CFDA and all of that. Like, surely it's not that bad. So New York is more than 20 times the size of San Francisco. Like, London is such a small, like, there's no way there are more fashion jobs in London than in San Francisco and no way. There's absolutely no way. Like, I swear California is as big as the whole UK. So there's absolutely no way that you're telling me the whole of New York versus like London. London is so small that you can get to anyone's doorstep in London by public transport. Like, oh shit. All my lectures in 30 minutes. I'm gonna have to go soon. I just remembered my lecture's at 6 p.m. I'm so close to doing all these orders though. This was a really fun stream. Let's see how many I've done. So I've got like 5 left to do. So I've done all these ones so far. He said getting geography lessons on a fashion live stream. But yeah, just if you think of like size, there's absolutely no, like, okay, let's actually Google this shit. Like, wait, there's just no way. Wait, give me a sec. Let me share my screen. So London square miles. So London is 1,572 square kilometers, right? So what did they say? New York So what do they mean by New York? Because they're saying New York is actually smaller than London. I think of New York as in like New York State. Okay, yeah, they're talking about New York City. Because New York State, that is like damn near the size of England. Okay, so they're saying London City is bigger than New York City. How big is San Francisco? Let me see. San Francisco. Can't even spell. So 121. Wow, London's actually bigger than San Francisco City and New York City. That's interesting. But combined, so that means basically San Francisco plus New York is like 2/3 bigger than London. Interesting insight. He said London ain't up, so Croydon is the Croydon is like on the other side of Earth. Oh my god. No, I'm not saying London is small, it's huge. I'm just saying relative to like American states, like London is really tiny. This is a good question. Are you more interested in video or text as the primary venue for journalism? Video for sure, because it's new. It relates to a younger demographic. It relates to a younger audience. So I just prefer video journalism over text. And also, every journalist can write because you like if you study journalism, you learn to write. So every journalist can basically do that. It takes a different type of journalist to be able to be a video journalist because if you're a video journalist, you either do what I do, which is like make YouTube videos, or you're like a presenter on a show, which presenting and being confident in front of camera and all that stuff is a skill in and of itself. And I like that I'm able to have range because by the time I graduate from CSM, I'll be an adept writer and I'll also be good at video journalism. So it's just like more tools to the arsenal, basically. You said enough buttons and stuff. Wait, whose Insta are they talking about? Whose Insta are you guys talking about? Yeah, shoot me some more questions. I'm gonna have to go in like 15 minutes because I have a CSM lecture at 6 p.m. And right now the time in London is 27 past 5. And I have to give myself 15 minutes before the lecture. So yeah. He said, what's my toolkit for sliding into DMs? That's a hilarious question. You just slide. You slide into the DMs, my guy. If you see a girl, or I don't know if you're gay, if you see a guy you like, you're feeling the guy or the gal, slide. Like you only live once. What's the worst thing they can say? I'm not interested. Okay, but at least you're not gonna live with thinking, oh, what if like I messaged her or him? What if like I don't like living with guilt or doubt. I'd rather just like do things and know what the outcome is. Basically, that's my strategy in terms of sliding into DMs. He said I need 15 minutes to find my black cat. It's hilarious. She said, you're lame as fuck. I just want to meet people near me who make clothes. Yeah, man, I'm lame, bro. I need to marry a, I don't know, avant-garde fashion designer. I'm slacking. He said, next time I'm a join stream and tell you a story about how sometimes shooting a shot can backfire. I think, but you shouldn't let that affect you. I feel like some women are just a bit like weird with things like that. Like if I send you, it's like some people are just weird like that. Like, okay, let me put it this way. If I slide into your DMs, which I rarely do to people anyway, because especially now, like I have the fashion archive, I don't do stuff like that anymore because I don't want later a year from now, like someone's trying to destroy my name, like, oh, the fashion archive did this and did that, and blah, blah, blah. But like, in terms of like sliding into a girl's DM, it's not that deep. It's Instagram. Like, if you're not interested, don't reply to the message. And it's not like I'm ever going to send anyone something disrespectful. It's just going to be like, I'm interested. We should go out sometime or something like that. If you're not interested, don't reply. Or just reply and tell me you're interested. Don't flipping turn it into a whole scene. Like, no, this is what's wrong with men. Like, what? That's just weird. Like, you could have just ignored it. Do I live in CSM halls? How do I live so close to CSM? No, but so basically, Central St. Martin's, for people that don't know, is really close to King's Cross Station, right? And I live on the Northern Line. So on the Northern Line, like King's Cross is on the Northern Line. So for me, it's a direct train, and the train takes about 15 minutes from my house to CSM. So it's like really quick. So I don't live in halls, but I live really, really close enough. He said, I followed your advice now, Georgia Smith is back. Oh my god, you guys are too funny. Will I be doing more merch? Planning to buy the tote? Yeah, so numbers wise, it's been going well with the tote bags, so I'm gonna make more. So yeah, if you order more tote bags, whoever's interested, if you want to order some tote bags in the future, I will definitely have stock by next week. So yeah. One time I asked a girl out and she laughed at me for 5 minutes before realizing I was serious and that's quite funny. Man, guys, stop being scared of rejection, man. Like, for me personally, as a man, as someone that identifies as a man, rejection is just part and parcel with the game. It just comes with the territory. So you just have to learn to deal with it. It's just kind of what it is. He said, big up Northern Line. Oh, you live in Finchley. Shout out Finchley. What's she say? Can you show them no? Wait, what? Wait, can I show them no? Huh? Huh? Is the fashion industry / influencing more cutthroat than usually shown? One of my cousins is fashion industry / influencing more cutthroat than usually shown. One of my cousins is influencing tells me that there's a lot of backstabbing. Yeah, because people are in fashion for the wrong reasons. Like, I got into fashion because I was super, super enthusiastic about learning about designers, and it kind of just spiraled out of control. So for me, it's all about passion and learning. So I would never really have a reason to backstab anyone, really. Whereas people like in the beauty industry or other people in fashion, they're in it for the glitz and glamour. They're in it because they want to go front seat to Fashion Week. They're in it because they want free clothing from their favorite fashion brands. I don't care about that stuff, which is why I can make a video like Converse is scamming designers. There goes any Converse collaboration in any future time. So I feel like those type of people, they're social climbers. So social climbers will always backstab people to get to the top. So it just comes with the industry, I guess. Like, everyone wants to get there, fighting for the same opportunities. Chloe said, I've never been rejected. Oh my god, Chloe, stop chatting shit. I swear, Chloe, haven't you written? No, she hasn't actually. Nah, that's a lie. She hasn't. You happy you went to CSM this year? I deferred my place at LCF because I didn't know if it would be worth 9K. Yeah, for me, it's more like the clock is ticking. So it's a thing where I'm 22 now. If I defer entry to CSM, I'll be 23. By the time I graduate, I'll be 26. It's just like, my window of opportunity is like kind of like slipping away. So I know it's kind of tough spending 9K just to do like online classes, but I just kind of bit the bullet. So yeah, he said, I'm here for you, Chloe. Yo, guys, I actually know Chloe, by the way. Chloe's cool. She's a joker. Chloe's my very good friend. Chloe, actually, let's talk about Chloe. Actually, Chloe studies at CSM. She studies ceramics, which is pretty cool. Yeah, very unique course to study. She said she has nice hair. That's cap. That is cap. You do not have nice hair, Chloe. Stop it. I love that Daniel said, I'm here for you, Chloe. Someone said I got into fashion about 6 years ago and it was because of reps. Interesting. The fashion X geography / dating archive. Oh my god. I shouldn't actually joke about Chloe's hair, man. She has alopecia. That's deep. And no, Chloe is not my wifey. Chill out. No, we are friends. We just joke around like that. We are friends. We actually... Do you know the last time I actually saw Chloe? Chloe, when was the last time I saw you? The last time I saw you was definitely like years ago. It feels... I swear I haven't seen you in like over a year, probably. I actually can't remember the last time I physically saw you. Probably a year ago. Since living in the UAE and all, fashion here is really not a thing. So I had to go for an art director since the degree can get me into fashion in the future. That's cool. Yeah, see? She said the last time I saw her in person was like 2018. So, see what I mean? Like, I haven't seen her in ages. Crazy. I'd be so happy if you could answer this. Do you think it's possible to work in fashion to study something like media and communication? Definitely, 100%. Actually, let me tell you something. Actually, because I listen to a lot of podcasts, like fashion podcasts, financial podcasts. Sorry, I had a brain fart there, and basically, these guys were basically explaining the skills that, because of the quarantine, are really like high value now. So one of the skills that's high value now is being into media and communication and stuff, because now all the companies are transitioning into like digital media. So they need people who can really help them tell stories online through communication and digital means. So actually, if you study media and communication, there's no better time than now, literally. There's literally no better time than now. He said, people are doing relationship for clout. Really? That's a thing. Imagine getting into a relationship just for clout. That's toxic as hell. Oh my God. Is it really that serious to some people? Like, oh my God. Do people really care about like getting clout that much? Like, my word. That's crazy to me. He said, he worked out and came back and I'm still here. You know I'm here for you. I'm here for you, bro. Oh, influencers going out with each other in general is cool, but like if they're doing it for clout, that's just messed up. Like I know the beauty community is just different, like toxic in so many different ways. But like, what's his name? What's the most problematic beauty YouTuber? I've forgotten his name. Jeffree Star. There we go. He like apparently dated this black guy because a whole thing was that he was like racist. So essentially he like dated a black guy to kind of prove I'm not racist, guys. I'm good dating a black guy. Then all this stuff came out. That's crazy, man. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Why is Chloe trying to make me look like a bad person? Yo, I FaceTime you all the time. Chill out. She's trying to destroy my name, guys. He said, I'd imagine it'll go very wrong for people who catch feelings easily. Rocky and Kendall. Did I cop the Rick puffer? Yes, I did. And I also copped some Rick pants, some wide Rick pants. Pretty cool. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for joining. I almost packed. I have 2 more to pack. But I do have a lecture at CSM right now, so I've got to go. But thank you so much for everyone that tuned into the live stream. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you haven't seen my video on Converse, definitely check it out. And yeah, peace, guys.